And a very good afternoon to you, and a warm welcome back to Tollcross International Swimming Centre here in Glasgow for session 5 of the Glasgow International Swim Meet. So it's the slower heats from the fantastic swimming that we had this morning. I'm Duncan McKinnell, and joining me in the commentary box once again is Scott Warnock, the legend that is Scott Warnock. Delighted to have you back, Scott. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It was good this morning, so hopefully we can continue that.
We'll do our best, won't we?
We will.
So we got a super lineup for you once again. There it is for you: 400 IM, 100 breaststroke, 200 butterfly, 200 free, 50 backstroke, and 800 freestyle. We've got the first two heats of the 800 freestyle this afternoon, and the fastest heat will go in the final session tonight. So that's something to look forward to. But there's plenty of options up for grabs here for a second swim tonight for these swimmers this afternoon, particularly in these 400 IMs where there are still empty lanes in the junior final. There were only 4 juniors qualifying for that junior final for the women's 400 IM this morning, so plenty of options for these swimmers to really push it out and get another swim this evening. So you always get some standout swimmers in the afternoon, don't you, Scott? As people really just up their game. And yeah.
I think the good thing as well is that the way they seed them as well is you get all the fastest kids this afternoon in the last heat. So you end up getting good races. So I think every single race we'll see this afternoon will be good because they're all round about the same sorts of times. So yeah, hopefully they'll push themselves on into the junior Bs or A finals.
A lot of these swimmers, of course, coming out of national age groups up in Aberdeen last month, a lot of their entry times will be the times that they did in Aberdeen. Do you realistically expect these youngsters to be able to improve on that? And
I think most of them, certainly 15, 16, 17s have been out of exams, so a lot of the coaches are just using this really to see how fast they can kind of swim tough. Some of them are looking forward to the camps that will be coming up, so I'm pretty sure they're certainly, I know a couple of clubs are excited over the next couple of weeks for the camps, but this is really the preparation now getting started for all the summer meets. So this is a good indication of what it is you need to do work-wise between now and the summer meets to make sure that you peak at the right time of the season, which is obviously, towards the summer when everybody wants to swim their best.
So the Glasgow team are off to Spain, sunny Spain, but you're not going with them.
No, unfortunately, we're staying at home, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of social media involvement and engagement. We've got our Tenerife weekend here, I think, the next 3 days in Scotland, so we'll make do with that.
Yeah, so it's just coming up to start time. You can see there the 4 swimmers for the first heat, just biding their time, getting ready to go. As I said, it's 400 individual medley first up. There'll be 2 heats going in this. So you can see there's the 4 swimmers in the first heat. I'll introduce them for you now. Lisa McNair will go in lane 3 for first. Ciara Gregg of Falthouse in lane 4. Abby McMillan, City of Glasgow in 5. Emma Barrowman of Stranraer in lane 6. So another little extra that we're getting this afternoon is that there are spot prizes for what we call hot heats, and the winner of a hot heat gets a very nice prize from our sponsors Arena. And this is one of those hot heats, this very first heat of the afternoon. So one of these 4 girls will pick up the prize. Referee's whistle goes, so we're good to go.
Girls will be keen to win this hot heat. Not sure what the prizes are. Is it caps and goggles and stuff?
I think it's backpacks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and look pretty nice.
Yeah, an extra incentive to get this 100 fly done down there. If you're ever having second thoughts about doing 100 fly before you do 100 back and then breast and then front.
So another program that breeds them tough is Fauldhouse under coach Tom Seavright, and it's Kira Gregg from that program who is the early leader here. Going through, looks like we've got a slight problem with the timings at the moment, not coming up either in the venue or on our screen, but you can see it is Kira leading the way by about a metre from Abby McMillan of City of Glasgow, 15-year-old, 14-year-old. Lisa McNair, also 14-year-old in lane 3, and Emma Barrowman, the Stranraer swimmer, in that distinctive orange cap, is a 16-year-old.
Times are all quite tight here, all 50, 5:46, 5:47, so this should be a close race at the end if they all swim to their times.
Well, on the venue scoreboard, we're seeing 1:16.69, and so coming through there for the Kira Gregg's fly split into the backstroke. So we were talking about these transitions from stroke to stroke this morning, Scott, and I guess for these younger swimmers, that's an art that it takes a while to perfect.
I think this one especially now we're on back crawl, because you're that hyped up for the butterfly. Sometimes the stroke rate in the back crawl just decreases. What that really means is you kind of slow down. You can see here the girls, the stroke rate's quite kind of low compared to what we've seen to the IM specialists this morning. So the big key thing, I think, is to come off that butterfly and make sure that you've still got enough energy to get the rest of the strokes in. So I think we said earlier in the live stream this morning, more and more kids are being able to pace these events, which is good. They are getting a bit more familiar with the distance events, but you can see here that some of these younger girls, it's a bit of a recovery from the butterfly this leg rather than a kind of leg that would take them forward. So it'll be interesting to see when we go into the breaststroke. I'm sure one or two of these girls will be excellent in the breaststroke, and we'll maybe see the change again.
So Abby McMillan has made ground on Kira Gregg in the backstroke, and the two of them now coming into the halfway turn together. Still just going to be Kira, I think, with the touch, and not by much. 2:44.87 against 2:45.28. So half a second roughly between the two of them. As you said, Scott, into the breaststroke. Let's see what happens here.
All they can think about now is arena backpack. That's what they're thinking on their way down here. You can see the different styles there. We get an opportunity as the swimmers mature to get a distinctive style here. We've got two different breaststrokes at the front here. Where Abby's kind of more relaxed at the front end, and Kira's using that kind of stroke where she's kicking quite a bit and pulling quite a small wee bit at the front. So
yeah, we're certainly working very hard, and has got herself a lead back over a second halfway through the breaststroke. Sometimes in the second half of the breaststroke it all changes, doesn't it, where they set off strongly but they can't quite sustain it and somebody comes back at them. But no sign that's happening at the moment. Keep your eye on lane 3, Lisa McNair. She is pushing on as we now focus on the two swimmers coming back down towards the start end.
Yeah, what we found previous is that in the back crawl there's a bit of recovery phase, and then as you say, Duncan, in the second leg of the breaststroke there's recovering again for the front crawl. So the trick of this is to keep swimming all the way through, is to keep a consistent pace all the way through.
So up to 300, and Kira has opened up her lead to about 3 metres now, 4:27.14. As I said, there are places up for grabs in the junior final tonight. 6 spaces still to be filled. The swimmers were in the sort of 5:30s, 5:40s in the morning swims, for the ones who are qualifying for the junior final. So as we come up towards the final turn, just over the 5 minutes. So you think Kira's certainly giving herself a good chance here. Of course, another heat to come and most of the swimmers will be juniors in that second heat this afternoon. So 5:06.77. A little bit of a comeback from Abby in this freestyle. She's definitely closed the gap. Can she pick up on Kira, who was sitting there? Now you can see Abby, well, I was going to say on her toes, but she's closer than that now. And she is coming through quite strongly, but I don't think she's going to get there. Kira had enough in hand and takes the win in 5:43.57. So that's a nice 3-second improvement on her entry time. Entry time she did very recently at the East Kilbride long course meet, so nice progression in only about 3 or 4 weeks, from 5:46 down to 5:43. Second was Abby, and third Lisa. And there is your result, 5:44 and 5:51 respectively for Abby and Lisa.
Good strong swim by both the girls at the front there, and Kira just wasn't letting that go in the front crawl, which was good.
Yeah, nice little PB from Abby as well.
Yep.
So good start to the afternoon. Heat number 2 has a full field of swimmers. Mirren McPhee of Foldhouse in 0, Daisy Gilday of City of Glasgow in 1, Alexandra Miller of Foldhouse in 2, Beth Hunter, Ren 96 in 3. A bit of an ooh around the venue there as they are taken off the blocks, and we'll start again. Ellen McPhee, as I said, for Foldhouse in 4, Macy Carty also from Foldhouse in 5, then it's all City of Glasgow. Abigail Crawford in 6, Ella Cunningham 7, Georgia Reed in 8, and Amy Rowell in 9.
Not too big a gap between all the swimmers in this heat, so as you say, there's 6 spaces I think up and grabs for the junior final, so I expect to see them coming from this heat.
Yep, so that 5:43, I guess, is a bit of a target time. They can get in front of Kira's time from the previous heat, and they're 16 or under, then they're guaranteed to swim. In fact, only Georgia Reed is not in the junior category. There's empty lane, in fact, in lane 3. So the early lead is another Foldhouse swimmer, Macy Carty, in lane 5, and well, it's almost deja vu. It's Foldhouse and City of Glasgow going head to head.
It's definitely key that these girls at this age swim these events. It's good to see actually the Foldhouse girls who obviously came in numbers and swam as alongside the Glasgow girls. It's a good opportunity. A lot of kids sometimes don't like to swim these events, but they are beneficial, and we can see that at the senior event with all the girls and the times we've seen this morning.
Amy Rowell from the outside lane, the youngster from City of Glasgow, 1:14.54. 13, one of 2 13-year-olds in this heat. The other, Daisy Gilday, also from City of Glasgow. So Amy right down the bottom of your screen there, just going past our cameraman. And now perhaps just moving through is Abigail Crawford in lane 6. Abigail was a National Age Group finalist, did her entry time at West Districts here in Tollcross early in the year, 5:38, and she has the lead now.
Very good backstroker, Abigail, and got gold at the snags, so we expect her to come through in this leg and hopefully maintain that through the last 2, breaststroke and front crawl.
Amy Rowell still up there with Macy Carty, and not far behind them Georgia Reed in lane 8, followed by Ella Cunningham. So certainly the City of Glasgow swimmers right up there in the mix.
I think lane 9's got its magic powers again. I think we've seen it this morning, and 13-year-old Amy here is really powering through this in lane 9.
Yep. Now into second, I think, just ahead of Macy. But it's Abigail Crawford, 2:40.8, 4 seconds faster than the first heat at the halfway mark. Looks like maybe Macy Carty is going to be strong on the breaststroke, and coming back certainly into second place, still around 2-3 meters behind Abigail.
I think we'll see Ella coming on here on the breaststroke as well. I think she's making good ground on the two leaders. So it's going to be close. I think these 5 girls have put themselves in a good place for the junior final later on. Well, I think Georgia, think's out with that, isn't she? She's 17.
Yep, so the other 4 certainly will be looking at that. So the lead now has shrunk a bit, about 1.6, 1.7. And you can see Macy is pacing quite a bit faster. Really useful having those split times, intermediate split times, just shows how the difference in speeds between the swimmers at the moment. And as the 2 of them now coming up pretty close together. Lovely shots there. Terrific work from our camera crew.
2 girls working hard. You can see there they're really controlled on this last 50 of breaststroke, which is good to see. All down to the front crawl now. It'll be a race to the finish here.
4:17.58, now 9.5 seconds faster than the first heat, and the gap about 1.3, 1.4. And there was nothing like the difference in that second half of the breaststroke that there was in the first between the times from Abigail and Macy. So Abigail responding to the challenge very nicely. Lane 7 is Ella Cunningham, and she is looking set for 3rd now, and seen off the others. So these 3 will all be looking for another swim tonight. Final turn, 4:55, 4:57 for Macy, 5:01 for Ella.
We talked this morning about the different kind of strokes. Ella obviously had that amazing breaststroke leg there and pulled her right up into 3rd, whereas the other girls were really better on the kind of flying back. It's definitely an event now where you can be good at, as long as you're good at all 4 strokes, you get an opportunity to win.
So it's a strong performance from Abigail Crawford. 5:38 her entry time. The clock, she's going to be well inside that. Nice start, 5:32.48. So we'll definitely be seeing her in the junior final tonight. Macy will be there as well. Ella also will be there. I think Daisy will be there. Amy Rowell, I think, will probably be there as well. So good stuff from all those swimmers. Helen McPhee, I think we'll have to wait and see. She'll be on the cusp, I think, because there was one swimmer on 5:48 this morning, so she's probably knocked out. So it's going to be interesting to see whether she makes it, but a good number of those swimmers this afternoon will be back again tonight. But Abigail Crawford, with that big improvement, takes the heat. 5:32.48.
2 13-year-olds there, I think, Duncan, that potentially are in that junior final as well. So that's an amazing feat to get a swim with all the big athletes later on tonight. Is a big difference for kids that age.
Yep, so they'll be sharing the call room with Katie Shannon, Freya Colbert, all these stars. What an experience for them.
Absolutely, at that age, that is incredible.
So we just have the 1 heat of men's 400 individual medley this afternoon for you. There are 9 swimmers going in it. Kyle Mossman, City of Glasgow in 0. Daniel Hendry of City of Glasgow in 1. Lachlan Bremner of Highland in 2. Rory Webster of Dumfries in 3. Lewis Gibson, South Ayrshire in 4. Cameron Shaw of First in 5. Hayden Sterling of St Thomas in 6. Kyle Connolly of City of Glasgow in 7. And Aaron Machin of City of Glasgow in lane 8, the youngster of the field, another 13-year-old. But the early lead is with Lewis Gibson, the South Ayrshire swimmer, in lane 4, Youth Academy member.
Looks comfy in this first length. Good to see what he's like up the second length, but does look nice and comfy on that fly. So important that you don't overdo the first length and you really struggle for it in the 400s. It takes you quite a bit of time to recover if you overcook it on the butterfly leg. But this looks a bit controlled. It looks quite good from Lewis, if I'm honest with you. It looks like a good swim.
Again, as with the women, there are a couple of empty spots available in the junior final in this one. I think there were 8 qualifying for it this morning. 104.66 then for Lewis. About 3.5 seconds clear as they go into backstroke. And he certainly opened up a good gap to defend now. Looking nice and controlled there.
15-year-old too, so you know the right age group to be starting these events and really focusing on them. So I don't know what his key event is, but it's always good to be able to do the 400 IMs, and at that age it's quite a developmental thing. That's something that will not be harmful at all. It will always be helpful for kids.
Yeah, the one thing I can tell you is I don't think 400 IM is a signature event, because I've got absolutely no form on 400 IM for Lewis. So I'm in the dark here.
I did speak to his coach Byron earlier, so there was one of the names that popped up to watch out this afternoon. So he's certainly shown us what he's got in this heat.
Yeah, looking good. Lane 1, Daniel Hendry is up there, challenging for second, along with lane 6, Hayden Sterling, the St Thomas swimmer from Arbroath. And there's Lewis's turn, 2:26.97. Into the breaststroke now, leads 3 seconds. It's shrunk a little bit in the backstroke, but he's still got a fairly emphatic lead over Hayden and Daniel.
Just see him stretching out there, and that's the difference I think on breaststroke, especially in 400 IMs. If you can relax into it, you go further and it takes you less strokes, so you're not as tired by the time you finish the breaststroke leg. And it looks like Lewis has mastered that. He's nice and long there and nice and relaxed all the way down that first length.
Yeah, 41.2, so I think he is certainly picking up his lead pretty nicely. You can see he's about 2.5 seconds faster than Hayden down that length.
I think he's way inside what his PB is here, which is good to see. As we said, you didn't know you possibly had exams or something on the last couple of weeks and missed a bit of training, etc. But you know, you got to swim tough sometimes. You never know what's going to happen to you before races or big events. You're never ever going to be 100% fit for anything, so always good to come and swim tough at these races.
So coming up, 100 meters to go, 3:50.87. Entry time for Lewis 5:11, so he's certainly looking good to improve on that. Get a good sense of it as to how fast he's going on this penultimate 50 as to where he's going to end up. But well, 5 minutes could be under threat here.
A good breaststroke there as well for Hayden Sterling in 6. You can see him pulling away, which is good, but he's had a great breaststroke leg there, bring him back into contention.
Yeah, just saw him on your shot there. So that was a 35.426. So if he can put that down to a 33, he would get under the 5 minutes. That might be a bit of an ask, maybe just over the 5 minutes, but it would be a big improvement on a 5:11.4 entry time, however you look at it. So this has been excellent from the South Ayrshire man. There you can see Hayden Sterling. He's putting in a good swim as well. Entered on 5:13, Hayden. He was in the junior final here last year. I think the standard is a lot stronger this year though. 5:02.06. So not too far away from that 5 minutes. That will come before too long, I'm sure, but 9-second improvement on his entry time for Lewis. Hayden also well inside his entry time, 5 seconds, 5:08.32. And it's Daniel Hendry taking third, and he's also nicely inside his entry time by over 4 seconds. So good swimmers all round. Of course, that was a hot heat as well. So Lewis gets the goodie bag as well.
I think he'll be pleased with that. That was a lovely controlled swim, I think, all the way through. If you take all of the different strokes, nice to see at that age. I see at 15, really just starting out to be, you know, good, and hopefully a good junior and then on to a good senior. So the right age to be swimming in competitions like this and giving yourself an opportunity at night time with some of the world's best.
Yeah, excellent stuff, and some really good quality junior swimming there. Now we move on to 100 meters breaststroke, starting with the women. We've got 7 heats here. Line up for the first heat. We've got 6 swimmers. Anna Easton, Megan Mackay, Katja Wilson, Katie Watson, Amelia Pragal, and the para swimmer Laura Pilkington.
Should be a close heat here, so 129, 130. Laura obviously a little bit behind that, but she's a fantastic character. She's a great individual, and it's nice to see her still swimming there up in Edinburgh.
Yep, and she's not just swimming, she's getting PBs pretty solidly, and when it's a PB for her, it's also her Scottish record, SB5 swimmer, so we'll keep an eye on her, and it'll be her against the clock. Her entry time, pretty sure, will be the Scottish record, 2:07.95, so we'll keep an eye on that as the other swimmers go through the turn. And leading the way is Katie Watson, 40.16 for her. Two red caps behind her, Bells Hill, Katja Wilson, Amelia Pragal. Am I pronouncing that right?
That's correct, yep.
Yep. Know a little bit about Bells Hill swimming. Recognise that big black S.
It's certainly distinctive in the water, isn't it? You can see it from afar.
But no doubt who's going to take this one. It's Katie Watson, City of Glasgow, the 16-year-old. Entered 129.63. She's going to be inside that. So good start to our breaststroke here, 127.39. Takes the win. Now let's see on Laura, what can she do? Distinctive sideway breathing rather than getting her head up. Maybe that's to do with her disability. That's how she has to do it, but really working hard. Look at that stroke rate.
I know.
Pushing it very, very hard indeed. Absolutely no effort spared. Remember, it's 2:07.95 her entry time. And we'll see how she is against that. Again, she's probably in heavy training herself at the moment, so with big para meets coming up later on. Oh, it's looking at 2:08.48, so only half a second away from her entry time. So nice stuff from Laura there. I think she'll be pretty happy with that, I would think.
Good thing was, I think she turned in 1 minute, so you know that's a good drop off. She's really worked hard up that second length, as you can see, and we were fortunate. She was on one of the teams. We did the team champs here at Tollcross, and she was great, I must admit. So it was lovely to see her in the water there, and that is a fantastic time. Maybe that's something to watch as the summer progresses. She's obviously close to her best.
Yeah. So on to heat number 2. All 10 lanes in use here. We've got Amy Murray of West Lothian in 0, Erin Faulkner of Bells Hill in 1, Lula Milner, City of Glasgow in 2, Anna Baim, East Cavan in 3, Natalie McGregor of Perth City in 4, Lucy McLeod of First in 5, Alice Jones of South Ayrshire in 6, Chloe Semple of Rutherglen in 7, Sophie Mooney of City of Glasgow in 8, and Amy Weir of Bells Hill in lane 9.
Should be close again. That's the good thing about these heats, is that they're all swimming against athletes the same kind of range and time as them, so you normally see somebody maybe peeking through the field, but a lot of the times it's very, very close racing and finishing. Really good start here in 5 by Lucy McLeod. We'll see what her 50 is, but she seems to be ahead of her entry time, which is 128.
39.78, a little bit faster than Katie Watson's split. And she leads Alice Jones and Sophie Mooney by half a second and a second respectively.
And you can see that lead stretch when you get a good breaststroker, and you know most of the field are kind of slow, and you can see that length of stroke getting maintained and that nice stretch. But Alice Jones next to her certainly coming on at the later stages.
Yeah, there's a few swimmers are now mounting the challenge here. So this is going to be a tight finish. Looks like Lucy McLeod should hold on to take it. But she's had her challenge, but she responded to it nicely and comes in 1:25.71. So another nice PB, 2 seconds off her time. Second place was Alice Jones, 1:26.65, and Sophie Mooney in third, 1:27.70. So both of them inside their entry times as well.
Yeah, I think all three there. I think that's the benefit of youth, isn't it? You can maybe not had the opportunity to train as much as you'd like over the last couple of weeks, but we'll always come in and do well at these events.
So this is heat number 3. We have Mirren McPhee of Faulthouse in 0, Grace Blair of first in 1, Alexandra Miller of Faulthouse in 2, Caitlin Peebles of East Lothian in 3, Eve McElwham of East Kilbride in 4, Katie Gillies of Renfrew Baths in 5, Olivia Flockett of East Lothian in 6, Manon Shembry of Perth City in 7, Iona Lynn of Scotia in 8, and Katie Anderton of East Lothian in lane 9.
Lane 5 seems to be the hot lane in this event. Katie Gillies there, 36.84. Again, looks to be inside her time and really taking this on. A little bit different kind of breaststroke, a little bit more arm movement there. You can see her knees coming forward a little bit more than most, but really effective, really strong, really powerful.
Just going back to Laura Pilkington's time, just looking at that 2:08.48, I think that in fact is a Scottish record. I think I've got her record as 2:08.57, so
wow.
I think she took a 10th off that record, so brilliant stuff from Laura.
Amazing swim, amazing athlete.
But coming in here, it is once again lane 5, Kate Gillies, 1:23.70 for her. So nicely done. Another improvement. We've seen lots of improvements on entry times here this afternoon. Good swim from Katie Anderton from lane 9 there, coming in second place. Just wait for that to be confirmed.
These are great swims. The kids are doing well this morning, this afternoon.
Yep, so 1:26.06, nice PB from Katie Anderton. So the Katie's doing well, first and second. Manon Shembry in third. So unfortunately, as you see popping up on your screen there, we had a disqualification there. So that's unfortunate. In lane 8, that was Iona Lynn disqualified.
Just a little bit early on the start.
Heat number 4. We have Alice Perry of Warrender in 0, Helen Black of Cooper in 1, Emily McCusker of City Glasgow in 2, Hannah Lindsay of Hamilton Baths in 3, Anna Lawson of East Lothian in 4, Beth Craik of Aberdeen in 5, Victoria Grabowska of Western Bartonshire in 6, Gina Wren, City of Glasgow in 7, Jessie Norris of Best in 8, and Ciara Anderson of West Lothian in lane 9.
All got entry times in 1:25s here, so there's only 0.8 of a difference on paper. So, yep, it's time to call this one, Duncan. I think you could throw a blanket over about 5 there in the middle lanes.
Yeah, tied at the front, Anna and Beth in the centre lanes. Anna Lawson in the dark cap. Well, I was going to say just has the edge, but I'm not too sure she has, because looking in lane 8, Jessie Norris, the swimmer from the Borders, is coming through well, and beside her Gina Wren, the 14-year-old from City of Glasgow. It's in lane 7, so it looks like now it's between these two. But really close. In fact, a cracking finish now coming in from Beth Craik. So in fact it is going to be Beth, and she takes it 1:24.69, not quite as fast as the previous heat. but inside her entry time by over half a second, so can't complain about that. Jessie Norris was second, Gina Wren in third.
And you see that quite often in the afternoons at the previous heats. Will have an athlete that does a faster time than the ones that are coming behind them, which is always great to see. But I think the way they seed them is the right way. I think it gives every opportunity for everyone to have a race.
Yeah, and there's always going to be one that just has a standout day, and that's their day to absolutely really improve on their entry times. Most swimmers will have that at some point in their careers where they absolutely smash an entry time.
I think
Take
I remember
their PB to a new level.
I remember 2 in my career. I think you get 1 or 2, and I think that's your whack. I think I must admit, where everything goes well.
Heat 5 then, Anna Perry of Warrender in 0, Joanna Calder of Mulcahy and Bearsden in 1, Katie Campbell of Aberdeen Dolphin in 2, Lizzie Wyke of Heart of Midlothian in 3, Ellen McPhee of Fauldhouse in 4, Lily McCary of Wren 96 in 5, Molly Irvin Watson of Dumfries in 6, Rebecca Strachan of City of Glasgow in 7, Lauren Elder of Forfar in 8, and Beth Hunter, Wren 96 in lane 9. So 39-56, similar split to the previous heat. Rebecca Strachan leads the way.
Again, all these heats really close. It looks as if lane 4, Ellen McPhee is now kind of pulling away from the rest of the field, but again, you know, some good breaststroke technique there, getting her head down early, making sure she makes full use of the pool.
Yeah, so she's certainly up there along with Rebecca Strachan, the halfway leader in lane 7. And others on the other side of the pool going pretty well, but it does look like it's going to be Ellen. And it is 1:24.54 for her. Rebecca Strachan second and Lizzie White third.
Nice swims there. We're still a little bit slower than the Heat 3 winner, but all really within the margin of their personal best times there.
Yeah, so that just shows that's 20 swimmers that she's gone past.
Yeah.
In terms of time, so impressive stuff from Katie Gillies in that third heat.
Can certainly make a big difference, but I mean, you can see the depth of times here. You know, everybody in each heat's really within a second of each other, so there's quite a bit of depth in junior swimming and breaststroke. We just need to obviously move that through into senior swimming, and we've seen some, you know, 2 of the most outstanding swims I think this morning were in the 100 breaststroke girls, and you know, 2 world-class swims. So you know, these girls would be nice to get to the final and be in the call room and around these kind of athletes that are at the top level.
Yep, that was Mona McSharry, the Irish swimmer, and the Scot, Cara Hanlon, both outstanding this morning. So, heat 6, we have Ellen Denny, Geary in 0, Grace Noonan of Mulcahy and Bearsden in 1, Ella Cunningham, City of Glasgow in 2, Emma Binney of North Ayrshire in 3, and 2 Wren 96 swimmers, Amy McAlonan in 4, Amelia Ray in 5, Lexi Lamont of Aberdeen in 6, Sarah Kay of South Aberdeenshire in 7, Cara White of Wren 96 in 8, and Iona Henderson from Rutherglen in lane 9. Entry times here 1:22 to 1:24, so you'd expect somebody to get past that. Katie Gillies 1:23.7 in this heat, but let's see if they can. Lexi Lamont first to the wall, 37.99 for the Aberdeen swimmer. Did her time 1:23.30 at national age groups in the final.
That 120 as a junior athlete is definitely a barrier. It's just as big as, I guess, the 109 or the 110 for the senior athletes, but I think every female athlete remembers when they get under 120, so the target here would definitely somebody in these next 2 heats to get close to that or under that 120.
So coming down the pool, this is a tight one. So the Aberdeen swimmer, I think, is going to take it. Lexi Lamont, 1:22 dead. Again, a nice improvement, over a second on the time that she did at Snags. Amelia Ray in second, 1:22.68, so she's inside her entry time as well by about a quarter of a second. And Finally, people have gone faster than Katie Gillies, but that was a good run from her. One more heat to go. Again, we've got 10 swimmers here. Hannah Edmiston, City of Glasgow in 0. Katie Towers of Lanark in 1. Ava Ross of City of Glasgow in 2. Ciara Hart of Scotia in 3. Alana Wilson of Bellshill in 4. Lily Mundell of Hearts in 5. Daisy McInnes, City of Glasgow in 6. Grace Hannock of East Lothian in 7. Casey Drummond of Incas in 8. And Millie Barton of Bellshill in lane 9.
Is it about a 1:19, I guess, the junior final time they've got to beat? So definitely looking for someone here. Only one person under the 120 just now, Alana in lane 4. We'll see who touches first here. It's Daisy.
So through the turn, Daisy McInnes, 37.66. That's the fastest split we've seen. Daisy, City of Glasgow 14-year-old. Did her entry time just before snags at the West District pre-snags meet in this pool. So obviously likes swimming in her home pool.
Katie Towers out there just doing amazing in lane 1. You can just see her pulling away from the field.
Yep, and there you get the shot of her up there near the top, Katie Towers. So is she going to get past Daisy McInnes? I think she is. And takes the win. 1:20.35, and we'll definitely be seeing her, I think, in the junior final. Let's just have a look at that. Yeah, I reckon they had to get 1:22, so that was definitely fast enough.
Might see a couple then for that heat, I think. I think there was a... Just wait for the results to come up. I think there was 1 or 2 maybe.
So there is confirmation of that. Katie Towns 1:20.35. Daisy and Ava. Well, I think Daisy will be there. Maybe Ava at first reserve. We'll get confirmation of that shortly. Check out on Meet Mobile and you'll get all the details, or on Swim Scotland.
That's the benefit of swimming these afternoon heats, notwithstanding the PBs that we've seen for everyone, but giving these kids the opportunity to swim in that big event at night time is priceless at this age.
Priceless to get in her final at the City of Glasgow. You can't buy success.
Well, it's one of the few things in life you certainly can't buy. You've got to actually win it for your own.
You've got to work it, yeah, earn it.
All the old coaching mantras will be coming over. If you're not good enough, you'll not get in. All that sort of stuff will be coming. But no, it is serious. But I think at this level, to get around some of the athletes that we have, already in posting in the final, and to be around the Duncan Scotts of this world. I've caught a few swimmers that I know here at the meeting. I've just said, look, make sure you're watching what they do, how they prepare, how they get ready for races, and how they actually race.
So 4 swimmers, all blue affair in this first heat. Glasgow and first. Oscar Mugan Sharrett of City of Glasgow in 3. Finlay Byrne of first in 4. Aidan Thompson, City of Glasgow in 5. Nathan Finlay of first in 6. So Oscar going very nicely. 17-year-old. The boys, juniors go up to 17. He's entered 1:21.98.
I do like the Kelpies on that cap, I must admit.
Yeah, it's a classy cap, isn't it? But Oscar, the Glasgow boy, gets the win and goes under the 1:20, 1:19.87. So that's a nice 2-second improvement on his entry time. Finlay Byrne also inside his entry time, 1:21 dead. Aidan Thompson third. If my calculations right, need to get down to a 1:13.6, so thereabouts to get into the junior final. As we go to heat 2. Line up here. Kyle Simpson of Montefieth in 0. George Hodgkinson, University of Aberdeen in 1. Stepan Znasjuk of Stranraer in 2. Aaron Machin, City of Glasgow in 3. Hayden Pritchard, Geary in 4. Finley Brown of East Lothian in 5. Hamish Coates of Best in 6. Ross Hutchinson from Montefieth in 7. Cole Morrison of Stirling in 8. And Jimmy Lynn of Scotia in lane 9. Cracking start from Hamish Coates, the border swimmer. 35.10.
Good to see Best here. A distinctive name in Scottish swimming. It's nice to see them and doing so well. Hamish has led this right from the start. Definitely going to be, I think, closer under his time at this rate. Looking good.
Yeah, so Best now coached by Kirsty Armstrong, who many will remember from her days in the pool when she was absolutely outstanding junior. Now using that experience to coach these other swimmers, and certainly has done a good job with Hamish. He's put in a super swim there, 1:16.14, 3 seconds inside his entry time. So I'll be very happy with that, I would think.
It's the benefit of going out, I think, in that first 50. You know, if you've got the training background behind you, then you'll get that second 50 done. And Hamish looked strong all the way throughout that, which was good. But you set the tone on the first 50, and hopefully in the second 50 you reap the rewards.
So the tones of hot, hot, hot go round the pool as we signify we've got another hot heat coming in heat number 3. And the lineup for this hot heat: Joe Crawford of Scotia in 0, Adam Miller of Shetland in 1, Caleb Simpson of Montrose in 2, Cammy McMillan of Renfrew in 3, James Boddy of Geary in 4, Yusuf Ibrahim of City of Glasgow in 5, Jerzy Pachowski of Hearts in 6, Aidan Nixon of Bells Hill in 7, Ewan Mitchell of Hearts in 8, and Ian Henderson of Lanark in lane 9. 1:17 to 1:18 entry times here.
Yeah, people might not see you dancing to that hot, hot, hot every time it comes on, but I'll leave that to the viewer's imagination if you can, if you ever see the commentary position. Looks good here. 2 guys there in lane 4 and 5, James and Yusuf, really taking this out. Good first convicted first 50 there.
Yeah, 33.91 is a fair bit faster than we've seen so far.
Yep.
Yusuf 34.9, Caleb in 3rd, 35.95. Well, James Boddy bossing this one. Geary swimmer from
He does look to be getting better, doesn't he, up this second length? He looks as if he's really building into this. As we've seen that this morning with the senior swimmers, that you can get to a position where you're that comfortable that you just build and the power comes through the stroke.
Yeah, and this is a big lead. You don't get from that shot just how big his lead is, but now you do as we come into the end, and he's about 4 meters clear as he comes in. 1:13.19, and that is a storming PB for him. Takes it 1:17 down to 1:13. Does that classify as one of those step change swims? It's pretty close to it.
It does, yeah. I mean, I think there's, you get the rewards if you can go out quick and you've got the background. It's different if you've not been training and you try and go out quick and you just disappear. But the last 2 heats we've just seen people that have just taken it from the start and went all the way, and obviously doing well in training as well as their actual competing. That was a fantastic swim there. I think 1:13 might get him in, is that right? Is he in position to get into tonight's final?
Yeah, I was just checking that. I reckon 1:13.61, so I think that's in.
I think there's a couple to come, and I see the last heat we've got Jack McMillan from Stirling, so I don't know how that's happened, but I'm pretty sure he'll be fighting for the A or the B final tonight. But
yeah, which will change things because it might knock a junior down into the junior final.
Might do, yeah.
This is heat 4. Liam Black of Cooper in 0, Nicodem Trojnar of Hearts in 1, Aidan McCavish of First in 2, Kyle Connolly of City of Glasgow in 3, Cameron Shore of First in 4, Sam Ross of Warrender in 5, Rory Vick also of Warrender in 6, Eclavia Singh of Scotia in 7, Carl Muirhead West Lothian in 8, Ben Grant City of Glasgow in 9. Sam Ross, the Warrender swimmer, with a pretty narrow lead through halfway. There's loads of swimmers in the mix here.
we've got a 13-year-old as well in 6, Rory Vick, who obviously is keeping up with these guys, but it looks like, is it Aidan in 2 there that's just pushing ahead in first?
Yeah, Clavia going well as well.
Yeah, 7, yeah.
And I think it's between him and Aidan, lane 2 and lane 7. I think it's going to be the Scotia swimmer taking the win. 1:15.55 for Clavia. Again, over a second inside his entry time. So we are seeing some really good improvements going on here. Hayden 1:16.23. Sam Ross in third, 1:17.35.
So we've seen all the impressive swims by the female athletes this morning, and I think the males in the afternoon here are equal in that. There's quite a lot of personal bests, and good to see at this time of the season.
Heat 5. Lewis Graham, Stirling University in 0. Jake Percy of Hamilton in 1. Ewan Gray of Cooper in 2. Callum MacArthur of Mulgary and Bearsden in 3. Adam Thompson of South Ayrshire in 4. Alexander Stewart of Highland in 5. Finlay Nelson of Dumfries in 6. Adam Hill of Stirling in 7. Samuel Beetham of First in 8. Finlay Bennett of Rutherglen in lane 9. Times here 1:14s and 1:15s. So reminder for those juniors, target 1:13.44.
I think there'll be 1 or 2 trying to make that final tonight out of this heat. Quite a lot of good swimmers in this one.
33.48 is the fastest split we've seen. Alexander Stewart, the Highlander. Think of him mainly as a freestyle, but he's showing good breaststroke skills here. So he's in lane 5, beside him the South Ayrshire swimmer Adam Thompson. Not much between them. Keep your eye on lane 0, Lewis Graham, just a bit out of your camera shot, but he is in the mix. So the 3 of them, now you can see them coming in. It's between the 2 in the centre lanes. The touch goes to Adam by 100th, 1:13.22. So again, so we saw that 1:13.19. This is getting complicated now. Let's see who gets in the junior final, but I think as it stands, Adam Thompson, the 16-year-old from South Ayrshire, will be there, and Alexander Stewart 100th behind him. That could be critical there. I think that might just be the cut-off between the 2 of them. That would be tough. Of course, that could change in this next heat.
I think we've run out of fingers. I think we'll need to get the shoes off and the socks off and
well,
the toes as well.
I don't think I'm risking that. You might not like that. Well, we said Jack McMillan would be there and swimming fast, but he's not. We've got an empty lane, so Ben Montgomery goes though for Stirling in 0. Guy Pelosi, City of Glasgow in 1. Callum Aitchison of Bucky in 2. Finlay Sang in lane 3 for City of Glasgow. James Gordon of Perth City in 5. Mark Watchorn of Scotia in 6. Dylan McCombie of South Aberdeenshire in 7. Fraser van der Molen of Stirling in 8. And Tyler Stewart of East Kilbride in lane 9. Good start in lane 2. Callum Aitchison, the Bucky swimmer, 32.94. So again, that is faster than we've seen.
I think these top 3 guys, I think, are just about as fast as we've seen. So it'll be interesting if they've got this back half that they can get under that 1:13. I guess under 1:13 they'll secure it. A 1:12 something or faster. But yeah, there's 2 or 3 here coming in at the end.
Yes, it's getting very tight indeed now. James Gordon certainly in the mix in lane 5. So in lane 3 is Finlay Sang, but Callum's still got his advantage and he will take the win, and the time 1:12.47, so I think we can guarantee that he'll be swimming again tonight. Probably the only one from that heat. In fact, I think definitely that. I'm going to stick my neck out. That's good stuff there from the Bucky swimmer. And another one inside his entry time.
You know, there'll be people at home with notebooks now. Nothing, just making sure.
Yeah, so that might just knock out the previous swimmer, Adam Thompson. So, but we'll get that confirmed, of course, and you'll see the start list coming up for the finals. So we're done with breaststroke, and we go to 200 butterfly now. Just the 2 heats for the women. And the lineup for the first of them: Mari Kemp of Perth City in 1, Isla Kay of South Aberdeenshire in 2, Peyton Forbes of Bucky in 3, Lucy Morgan, University of Aberdeen in 4, Millie Colvin of Dumfries in 5, Sophia Fallone of Montefieth in 6, Mirren McPhee of Fauldhouse in 7, Emily Thompson of Perth City in lane 8. Entry times here 2:50 up to 2:57.
Will be fun to see who can hold their stroke here and keep it all together for the 4 lengths. It's a difficult event, never mind for a junior. It's difficult enough for a senior, but I think we kind of gave a couple of tips this morning. I think the more you can keep that stroke rate and keep control of the stroke, then the more chance you've got to finish this without having to relate to struggling up that last 25, which we see often, certainly from junior swimmers.
So it looks like it's Dumfries versus Montefieth contest early on. Millie and Sophia in lanes 5 and 6. As we come down towards halfway, and maybe just Sophia Fallone, although there's very little to choose between them as they come up to the halfway split. On the touch, in fact, it's Millie by a 10th, 1:16.98. This is another event where there are vacancies for the junior final. We had 5 swimming this morning, so 5 of the, how many? I can't count, 18 swimmers I think we've got this afternoon. 5 of them will get a second swim. At least 5, I should say.
You just see the strokes changing a little bit as the girls get tireder, especially there in lane 5 by Millie, but still powerful enough underwater, still keeping that lead in place. A little bit underwater skills and technique there at the end of the wall. Definitely makes a difference. We've seen this morning some excellent turns. Makes a difference, especially on that last length.
Let's see whether Lucy Morgan can make any sort of late charge. At the moment, it looks like she's going to have to settle for 3rd. And Sophia is doing her best to try and close up on Millie, but well, that's a big ask at the moment as we see them coming down towards the camera.
Millie just tightening a little bit in the last kind of 10 here, but it's going to have enough, I think.
And you're not wrong, 2:44.51, that's a big PB. Yeah. So you talked about it being done by the boys, as the girls answering back. 6-second PB for Millie. Sophia also well inside her time, 4 seconds for her. And Isla Kay also a couple of seconds inside her inch time. So good swimmers, swims all round pretty much there.
Great to see, and your reward is to be able to do it again at night. That's better than the oh, you're dancing again, sorry.
Yep. So 2:44.51 there. Certainly at the moment that picks her in a good place for a second swim, but we've got all these swimmers and every one of them in this heat is a junior. Let's see what they can do. Kate Nolan of Warrender in 0. Then 2 from Fauldhouse, Kira Gregg, we saw swimming earlier, and Lauren Brolly. Then 2 from City of Glasgow, Thea Glenn and Amy Rowell. Then Aberdeen Dolphin swimmer Kalila Smith, another Glaswegian, Abby McMillan in 6. Ella Wood of Forfar in 7. Emma Binney of North Ayrshire in 8. Megan Mackay of Highland in 9. Nice to see Forfar at this meet. Don't see them at big meets that often, so great that they're producing swimmers that are able to compete at this level. Up in Angus. Kalila Smith, the Aberdeen Dolphin, is really pushing it out well. It's
good to see just on the blocks there. There's obviously a range of girls for 13 to 16, and there's all shapes and sizes. I think 200 fly is unique in that way that you can be, you know, slight build or big build or tall or, you know, not so tall, and it's all about the technique. If you've got that technique right and you can keep it going, then you've got a chance. And it's unusual. I think you would possibly think that the taller, stronger athletes would have an advantage over a distance like this, but certainly history's told us it doesn't matter about that. It's whoever's got the best technique that generally gets to the finals of these things and wins these events.
So there's two swimmers in the centre lane, both 13-year-olds. They were gold and silver in national age groups. It was Amy Rowell who won the gold ahead of Kalila Smith there, but Kalila has really taken this one on 16:41. We talked about Forfa, and Ella Wood in that yellow cap there is right in the mix in lane 7. Others are going well. Lane 1, Kira Gregg in her second swim of the afternoon.
It's great to see, isn't it? Not just the number of clubs that are represented in here, but the age groups. You know, 2 13-year-old girls at the front of this race is pretty spectacular to watch, and who knows where both these girls will end up later on. It's a great start for them at this age. What an underwater there, I must admit, by Amy.
Yeah, Amy Rowell was pretty steady early on, but she's looking to try and save the best till last here. Very much a different way of swimming it. Kira Gregg still right up there in lane 1. Kalila Smith just about hanging on, certainly in that race in the middle lanes. Difficult to see where she is versus Kira Gregg at the moment, but these three are going to sort it out between them. And I think it's going to be between Kalila and Kira. And maybe Kira from lane 1 has just got the edge, but it's going to be on the touch. In fact, a strong swim from Kalila at the end. Kira maybe just fading in those last few meters. So Kalila takes the win, 2:44.73. She gets her revenge over Amy after Amy beating her at snags. Kira Gregg second, Amy Rowell in third. I think we'll see all three of them again tonight. Just having a look at that.
What a finish there by Kalila, I must admit. If you don't know how to finish in 200 fly, that's the way to do it. The last 3 strokes were amazing, so that's the difference between a second and a first.
Yeah. And we will see them again tonight, I think. All of them doing it again, so that was the phony war perhaps. There'll be an interesting junior final later on. So on to the men's 200 fly. Again, we got 2 heats here. Andrew Patterson, City of Glasgow, will go in 2. Cole Murphy beside him in 3. Luke Livingston in lane 4 for best. Lucas Innes of Fullhouse in 5. Matthew Pogosiak of Monifeith in lane 6. So 2:36 up to 2:45. The times here.
The girls have led the way. They've put the PBs in. So let's see if the boys can do the same. 2 heats here, I think 13 14s and 2 15s in this heat. So all roughly around about the kind of same age and development.
31.8, Luke Livingston by half a second from Cole Murphy of City of Glasgow in second. So these two taking it away from the others at the moment. Third in lane 6 is the Monifeith swimmer Matthew Pogosiak.
You can see the difference there. The Glasgow swimmer breeding every 1 and the best swimmer here breeding every 2.
So is there a correct way of doing that?
I think if you can, obviously if you breathe every 2, you're flatter, and in theory you use less energy. But in practice, what happens is you lose it in the oxygen stakes. So towards the end of the race, sometimes that can become a little bit of a problem. So certainly in 200 flies, for people that are this age, what we kind of recommend normally is just to kind of breathe every 1 and as they get a little bit more used to the event and can pace the event, then we can kind of move on to.
So if you were a Tom Bealey, for example, you'd be doing every 2 all the way through, or would you switch at the end or at the end?
A lot of them switch, and a lot of them switch at the turn as well. So
at the final turn,
especially Tom. If you watch Tom's turns at in the final, has always been amazing on that last turn. And I think I've seen him win a couple of Scottish events just on that last final turn. And generally, what I've seen him do is breathe every 1 to the turn, and that gives him the oxygen and the capacity to do the underwater.
So this is turning into a good one, because Cole Murphy has really pushed it on now, and he's just edged past Luke Livingston. We'll see whether Luke has anything to offer to come back at him. 15 meters to go, and there's about 1.5 meters now between them, so it looks like Cole was biding his time and has chosen this last length to really push it on and take it through and earn the win. 2:33.46 for him. So that is another nice improvement, nearly 5 seconds on his entry time. 2:34.83 for Luke, also a couple of seconds inside his entry time. So nice stuff from him. And Matthew Pogosiak taking third, 2:39.05.
I think that's the benefit of having these heats seeded the way they are. The 2 boys really just played off each other for a long while, and possibly both of them got PBs because the 2 of them were helping each other out. So if you'd been stuck in the morning heat and you were in lane 0 or 9, then maybe you wouldn't have got these swims. So lovely to see this afternoon.
Again, there's spaces open for junior final places tonight, so he's got a chance there. Cole. Second heat underway. Matthew Kenny of Kinross in 0. Roy Wilson of Warrender in 1. Hayden Pritchard of Geary in lane 2. Finley Watson of East Kilbride in 3. Ewan Watson off to a storming start in lane 4 for Renfrew. Caleb Geddes of Bells Hill in 5. 6 is Daniel Hendry, City of Glasgow. Lewis Maxwell Pauls for Warrender in lane 7. 8 is Taylor Hutton of Incas, and Lachlan Bremner goes for Highland Swim Team in lane 9. Oh, so absolutely blitzing that first 50 there.
So when coaches watch this, we either have an understanding of how well the athlete's going to do, or we're sitting praying at this point in time that the second 100's going to be finished. I have seen fantastic second 100s on some occasions, but I must say I think Ewan here looks really comfortable on that 100. Let's see what he's got in the second.
Yeah, unfortunately the clocks just seems to be out of order at the moment, so I imagine there will be electrons going on in the background. In fact, it's coming through on the venue scoreboard now, so you can see it was a 1:06 at the halfway mark.
So this is way inside his schedule, and he doesn't seem to be stopping. He seems to be keeping going pretty well on his pace, which is good to see. So I think we might find a contender here for a junior final if he can keep this up on this last 50.
Absolutely, he's absolutely demolishing the opposition here. 1:45.47 with 50 to go. So sub 40 there, so that would take us into the 220s territory. I think that gives you a chance of the B final, in fact. 2:28 is the time to get in the B final, so I think he's got a great chance of doing that if he can just hold this together. As you said, he absolutely attacked this so hard that will he be hurting at the moment?
He'll be hurting, there's no doubt about that, but I think he'll be pleased with this. This has been an amazing swim, and I always say, I think if you go out and you've got the confidence, your own ability, you've got the training behind you, then swims like this are possible.
Yeah, so this to me, the swim of the afternoon, 2:28.51. Really took it there. Let's just check on that. Just outside the B final, but certainly will be in the junior final with that. Just did, I think, find it hard down that last 50.
Surprised he got on that lane rope. I suppose the energy he got on that lane rope there.
Yeah. Looked like it's got some sort of anniversary cap on for Renfrew Boss. I don't know whether it's their 100th year or something like that. Let us know on the tweet. Renfrew bus celebrating a big centenary. Oh, unfortunately, we got a disqualification there. Lachlan Bremner in lane 9 disqualified. It's unfortunate for him, but we'll see a number of those swimmers back again this evening. On to the 200 freestyle now. And in this one, we have got 7 heats. Swimmers getting themselves sorted for heat 1. They are Jessica Smith of Aberdeen Dolphin in 0, and Easton of Dundee City Aquatics in 1. Emma Barrowman of Stranraer in 2. Rebecca Strachan of City of Glasgow in 3. Charlotte Chadwick of Kinross in 4. Emily Dawson of Mulgai and Bearsden in 5. Tilly Lakey of Best in 6. Lucy Morgan, University of Aberdeen in 7. And Lucy McLeod of First in lane 8. 2:26s and 2:27s the times in this one.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? There's 7 heats of this, and obviously we spoke about the depth and talent that we have in Great Britain and the 200 front crawl for women, and it's relevant here that there's lots of kids wanting to swim this event, and 7 heats, and I think 6 heats this morning, 13 heats of 200 front crawl is, you know, no mean feat when it's a 10-lane pool. So there's certainly depth here in GB, and it'll be interesting to see actually if, you know, any of these kids that we're looking at now can make that big move, because there's certainly a growth in British swimming on 200 front crawl with females now, which is, you know, something we've not seen for a long time.
Obviously, Scotland's had fantastic success in 200 freestyle, particularly with the men, I think it's fair to say. When you think of some of the great 200 freestyles, obviously we've got Duncan Scott at the moment, but we have the likes of Mark Sharanek and Robbie Rennick before him, David Carey going back a bit, and, you know, some absolute stars that we've had in 200 freestyle. Does that, you know, does that correct a momentum of its own, if you're following in the footsteps of giants?
I mean, I can only recount from our own swimmers. I remember just after the Commonwealth Games, I think here we had Adam Peaty, who at that point in time wasn't as dominant as he became. He was just in the upwards, and we had Ross Murdoch, and we had a couple other. I remember there was 4 kind of top breaststrokers there. All the kids that I was coaching at that time wanted to be in that final and be around those people. So I think it does. It breeds generation of people behind them who aspire to be that kind of athlete. And, you know, we've had like say Caitlin McClatchy and a few other kind of, you know, really good front crawlers over the time. It's not that we haven't had them, but there's just such a depth just now in Britain that you know, any of these young kids here, there's a pathway now. British swimmers are looking for 200 front crawls again in females.
So this is really strong stuff. There, lane 4, 2:21.09. That's a big PB for Charlotte, the Kinross swimmer. 5 seconds inside her entry time. So she'll be very happy with that. 2:26.7, 2:26.9. Pretty tight there for second and third between Lucy McLeod and Easton. And Emily Dawson not far behind them as well. But good stuff from Charlotte, from Kinross.
And again, we'll see how, I mean, 2:21 takes her effectively 4 heats down. So, you know, in essence, could jump up maybe, 30 places or something like that today. So,
Heat 2. Manon Shembry of Perth City in 0. Hayden Holmes of Best in 1. Kira Anderson of West Lothian in 2. Mirren McPhee of Fauldhouse in 3. Elena Sanderson of Perth City in 4. Isla Petrie of Montefieth in 5. Katie Gillis of Renfrew in 6. Kira Gregg of Fauldhouse in 7. Abigail Hill of Mulgai and Bearsden in 8. And Gabriella Winton of Montefieth in lane 9.
certainly encouraged. There seems to be a lot of athletes with Montefieth. That's something that maybe not seen through here in the West quite as much, but it looks as if there's something going up there. It looks as if there's lots of kids, which is nice to see.
Yep, so just on outside Dundee, and they have got a pretty strong program in Montefieth. They really work well together, the Midland District clubs. It's a small district, but they work well together. Dundee, Perth, St Thomas in Arbroath, Montefieth, Carnoustie, Montrose, so that, good tight group. And I think one of the arts, I think, in clubs is to learn to cooperate rather than to battle against each other, and it pays big dividends, doesn't it?
I'm a firm believer that, absolutely. I think there's too many people looking inside instead of outside. I think the big game here is to get kids that we can get to a world level that can compete against the rest of the countries. It's not the neighbour next door.
Yeah.
And especially with
So update on the Renfrew Baths front. It's their 50th anniversary, so happy anniversary, Renfrew Baths. 50 this year. Many congratulations. And we're talking about the Midland District, and it's Manon Shembry of Perth who is leading the way here, 146.78. Looking really good from lane 0. I think we did get one win from lane 0 this morning, and looks like we're going to get another one this afternoon, unless there is a push from Kira Gregg, who we've been mentioning quite a bit this afternoon. She's in lane 7, but I don't think she's going to catch Manon. So great stuff from the Perth swimmer. Entered 2:25.99. Inside that by a second and a half. 2:24.37 for her. So showing can be done from lane 0. Kira Gregg in second, and Ida Petrie just behind her in third, the Montefiore swimmer.
You can never underestimate that feeling when you're out in one of the outside lanes and you can see everybody and you went first. It's a lot harder in the middle lanes. You've got to look both ways, but when you just look one way, it's amazing to see that you've actually finished first in your heat.
So getting the dancing going again. It's another hot heat, heat number 3. A new announcer getting very excited about it.
Yeah, I think they're out doing your dancing just now, I think.
Not you and me, though. We're far too dignified. Heat 3 then. Ava Ross, City of Glasgow in 0. Annabella Scatterty of Aberdeen Dolphin in 1. Sophia Falone of Montefiore in 2. Emily Neal of Hearts in 3. Amy Owenson of Best in 4. Darcy Reid of Dundee City Aquatics in 5. Jessie Norris of Best in 6. Sophie Portier of Warrender in 7. Emily McDougall of Highland in 8. And Lisa McNair of First in lane 9. Emily McDougall, 14-year-old from the Highlands, is off to a good start in lane 8. Again, we're not seeing a time coming up, but she was first through. Beside her, Sophie Portier from Warrender. And then beside her, Jessie Norris of Best.
A bit of a theme in the last few heats, isn't there? The kids that have went out have got their awards at the end, and it is about a wee bit sometimes about confidence as well. 50-metre pool, sometimes if you don't train in it that often, it can scare some athletes, but others just rise to the occasion, and it's quite good to see that, you know, the ones that are actually having playing their cards early are the ones that are actually benefiting at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation is in the West for the clubs that don't have. Obviously, Glasgow has this beautiful facility to train in, but you know, if you take a Rutherglen or a Renfrew Baths or somebody like that, will they get into Tollcross to train at all?
So there's a Saturday and Sunday here that other clubs can use, and there's also East Kilbride where some people go to East Kilbride as well. But a lot of the clubs, you know, there's the only time they'll swim in a 50-metre pool will be in competitions, and you know, you've got to remember we talked this morning about Hannah Miley briefly. You know, Hannah famously swam in the 25, was it yards or metres? I don't know whatever the Gary pool was at the time, and obviously that, you know, it didn't do her any harm. But I think when you get to facilities like here in Aberdeen and even through in Edinburgh, it's fantastic. You know, the opportunities for kids are good. So the more competitions, the more opportunities we give kids to swim in these, it definitely makes a big difference.
So talking about Edinburgh, it's a Warrender swimmer bringing this in with good second half from her. Sophie Portier coming in 2:20.63, so that's a nice improvement from her. Entered 2:23.9, takes 3 seconds off that. Jessie Norris in second. It's another good swim from the borders. And Amy Owenson also from the borders in third, both on 2:22, so they both improved on their inch times as well.
You can just see these times creeping up, can't we? You know, there seems to be, you know, quality swims in each heat just now in these 200s. It's been really good to see the kids come through.
So on to heat number 4. Macy Carty of Fauldhouse in 0, Amy McAlonan of Ren 96 in 1, Daisy Gilday, City of Glasgow in 2, Ella Cunningham, City of Glasgow in 3, Anna Perry of Warrender in 4, Ellen Denny of Geary in 5, Madeline Patterson, City of Glasgow in 6, Hannah Lindsay of Hamilton in 7, Chloe Kirk, Mulguy and Bearsden in 8, and Olivia Caldwell of City of Glasgow in lane 9. In fact, empty lane in lane 4, no Anna Perry. Just touching first, Madeline Patterson in lane 6:31.82.
Pretty sure these girls will be targeting that 220 and trying to get under that barrier, I think. These are always big achievements when you can do that as a junior athlete.
I've heard coaches sort of underplaying the significance of going down these milestones. You know, a minute in the 100 free, or 220 here, or 210, and you know, maybe 200 breast or something like that. But are they important, these milestones, as an incentive, or
I think it's
just a number?
Well, I mean, it is just a number after all. But I think what it gives the athlete is a bit more confidence. You know, it's all right coaches telling them that they're swimming at that pace. It's when they do it and they see it is the one thing. But what you see a lot, especially on the 100 front crawl, is what you see a lot is people going 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, and then 58. They kind of totally miss the progression into 59. And that's they are mental blocks, and I think when coaches see the kids go through it, it makes a big difference both to their swimming and their confidence.
So Madeline looking nice and relaxed here, 1:42.81, and that is the fastest split we've seen, about 1.2 faster than the previous heat at the 150. Olivia Caldwell going very nicely at the bottom of your screen, getting the hurry up from the coaches there. And a Lindsay of Hamilton as well, and up at the top, Amy McAlonan of Ren 96, but it's going to be Madeline, I think, bringing this one home. Although there is a very strong finish from Amy in lane 1. She's going to earn second, I think. Oh, is she? Maybe it's close. No, in fact, Olivia just held on to second. But Madeline taking the win there, 2:18.76. We are getting now closer to the time needed to get another swim for the juniors. 2:17.46, I make that. So only a second and a bit away from that in that one from Madeline. 15-year-old from City of Glasgow. So, good stuff from her. She actually did a similar time up in Aberdeen, University of Aberdeen meet a few weeks ago. So to replicate that is good.
Yeah, she's a good trainer as well. Good kid. It's nice to see that time coming through.
So we now move on to heat number 5. Anna Campbell, City of Glasgow in 0. Alexandra Miller of Fauldhouse in 1, then 3 more from City of Glasgow. Caitlin Morton in 2, Daisy McInnes in 3, Emily Dickens in 4. Poppy Shaw goes for best in lane 5, Molly Weir of West Lothian in 6, Perry Scobby of Stirling in 7, Abigail Morton of Swimmet in 8, and Isla Gordon of Aberdeen Dolphin in lane 9. Perry Scobby first through the turn, 31.10. Lane 7 again. It was lane 7 last time, if I'm not mistaken. No, it wasn't. It was lane 6. So forget that.
I think lane 0 again. That's about 3 or 4 heats that the athlete in lane 0 has done well, been in the top 3. So again, we've got a spread of athletes here across the pool that are doing a really fast first 100.
Yeah, when the spread in this heat is only half a second, I guess it's no surprise that anybody from any lane really could be in for this one. 1:06.15, that's the second faster than the previous heat. Perry going well. Emily Dickens half a second back on her. Scobby of Stirling.
Looking good here, stretching their lead. Nice long stroke. that leg kick's keeping her going, which is nice to see. Always keep her nice and flat, makes it a bit easier to pull your body through the water.
So still with the lead, and she's built that up to over a second now. 41.7. See a 35.5 split there.
It's going to be well inside her time here. I think if she can keep going, I think the first 2 or 3 girls will be, but it'll be interesting. They might be fighting for junior final places or there or thereabouts.
Yep, so 2:17.46 as said, but still 2 more heats to go here, so that could get tougher and tougher as things progress, but certainly Perry is well in charge on this one. Lovely long arms into the wall, 2:17.37, so that just edges her in at the moment. I think that will take the final slot in that junior final as things stand, but with 2 heats to go, we'll need to see whether she's able to hold on to that. But a great swim nonetheless. However you look at it, 3 seconds inside her entry time. Emily Dickens second and Poppy Shaw third.
I think the way it was swum was good. I think, if I'm right, it was a 32, 34 and 2:35s. You know, as far as the pacing's concerned, from a coach's eye, it was really, really well controlled and didn't lose it at the end. Sometimes you can lose that second in the last 4 strokes as you get too tired, but got to always finish on the wall.
So heat number 6, Lucy Nimmo, City of Glasgow in 0, Katie Towers of Lanark in 1, Ellie McPhee of Fauldhouse in 2, Amelie McLeod of Perth City in 3, Emma Leggett of Hamilton Baths in 4, Melissa Menny of East Kilbride in 5, Thea Glenn of City of Glasgow in 6, Imogen Sargent, Edinburgh University in 7, Amy McLeod, City of Glasgow in 8, and Zuzia Smith of First in lane 9. Entry times here in the 2:19s to low 2:20s. This time it's lane 3. Emily McLeod just leading the way, 31.66. Not quite as fast as the previous heat. Imogen Sargent just behind her, more experienced swimmer, 19-year-old from Edinburgh University.
Got again lane 0 away again here, Lucy Nimmo on 0. Keeping up on the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, she's right up there with Amelie. Just maybe a metre behind her at halfway. 1:07.25 and 1:07.91. Melissa Menny, Lucy Nimmo in 3rd, also under the 1:08.
Good, well balanced heat here. Definitely 5 of them in contention just now for that first place. Interesting to see the stroke rates, some going high, some low. Maybe some people keeping something back for the last 50. We'll find that out in a minute.
Melissa Menny has pushed on well in this 3rd 50, and that's pulled her through into the lead. 1:43.99. You see there is 36.0 is the fastest 50 split for that. But they're all lining up, aren't they?
It's going to be
to
a
have a
cracker.
go.
Yeah. And it is just about control now, isn't it? It's just a case of making sure that you pull as hard as you can, keep your head down for as long as you can and hit that wall.
Yeah, so who's going to get this one? There's 3 swimmers in the mix, Amelie, Melissa and Imogen, and it is Amelie that gets the touch, 2:19.42 for her. Just about on her entry time. Melissa 2nd, Imogen 3rd.
Difference there in the finish was that Amelie just kept her head down for the full 5 metres, and you see the difference there on the time. You know, there's only 0.1 and 0.3 in it. That was the difference. The difference was just someone who actually finished the race.
So the final heat of women's 200 freestyle, we've got Gina Wren, City of Glasgow in 0, Alison Cole of Hamilton in 1, Helen Stoddart of East Lothian in 2, Molly Irvin Watson of Dumfries in 3, Scarlett Robinson of Copeland in 4, Alice Perry of Warrender in 5, Lily Mandel of Hearts in 6, Naomi Wilson of Warrender in 7, Ayla Cochrane of City of Glasgow in 8, and May Rogers from Warrender in lane 9.
So these girls will definitely be targeting that junior final, the ones that are eligible. So I think 2:17:37's the leader just now in the current afternoon heats. So need to try and go under that, I think, to get into the junior final. Certainly a couple in here that could. Scarlett and lane 4 with a 2:14 entry time. So we should see at least one or two, I would have thought, close to that time.
Yeah, she was faster than anybody else on that down that first 50. Lane 2, Helen Stoddart, East Lothian, 16-year-old, is right up there with her. Gina Wren not far away in lane 0, and it's still going to be Scarlett turning first. 1:05.25, so again this is faster than we've seen. 1:05.98 for Helen. Mae Rogers in lane 9, actually touching third. Down at the bottom of your screen. It does look like, at the moment anyway, Scarlett Robinson versus Helen Stoddart. Maybe Scarlett just opening up the gap a little bit. That's perhaps, well, still what, maybe a metre and a half in it. Moving up nicely is Alice Perry in lane 5. 1:41.60. That is very similar split to Perry Scobbins. Remember her time 2:17.37 at the moment is sitting 10th for the junior final if we've got our sums right. Don't take it from us.
Looks like Helen here just edging ahead at the end.
This is really tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, that's a good last length from Helen Stoddart, mainly known as a fly swimmer, but that was a cracking freestyle from her, 2:17.09, and I think that will earn her into the junior final. The second inside her entry time. So looking at that, I think that now makes her 10th fastest in that for that junior final. Scarlett Robertson, I think, along with Perry Scobby, will just miss out. But some good swims there, and Helen Stoddart there, very strong down that last 50. A controlled race from her.
Makes a difference, I think, if you're committed on that last 50 and you get your head down and you do all the right things. That's why we train. And I keep saying to kids in training, some of them will, it doesn't matter what you're doing, they'll get their head up at the finish, or they'll not finish correctly. And the amount of hours that coaches spend shouting the same things is a bit equivalent, I guess, to parents that are shouting at their kids. But
I'm sure you never shout at the kids. You just talk to them nicely.
Of course, absolutely. Love to say that they listen.
Absolutely.
I think it's 20 minutes in before you realise they've got their headphones on.
5 heats coming up now for the men's 200 freestyle. We've got 6 swimmers in this first heat. Logan McDonald of Bellsill in 1, Ewan Watson of Renfrew in 2, Carl Harper of South Ayrshire in 3, Callum Weir of West Lothian in 4, Aaron Machin of City of Glasgow in 5, Aaron Russell of Bellsill in lane 7.
I think similar to the girls, 5 heats in this, so I think there was 5 or 6 heats this morning, so popular event this morning. Good start by Callan there, 28.68. A wee bit older than the rest of the field, he's 18 and the rest of the guys are 13, 14, 15.
So behind Callan in the red cap is Aaron Russell, 14-year-old from Bellsill. So he's looking good. Along with him in lanes 1 and 3 are Logan McDonald and Carl Harper. It is Callum through halfway, 1:02.53.
Good pace there on the first 100, 1:02. They're going to certainly be close to that 2:12 that Callan's got posted on the entry sheet. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Aaron on the outside's got a 2:14, so looks like he's inside his schedule just now. I'll be happy with that if we can hold this up the last length.
Definitely looks to be closing on Callum Weir now. In fact, he's right there with him at the 150 turn, just 3/10 in it. 38.64. And certainly looks like Callan is finding it a bit tough now. So it's all about balancing the early speed against the endurance required in an event like this. So 2 Bellsill swimmers pushing hard. Aaron and Logan. I think it's going to be Logan who's going to get the win from lane 1. Nice stuff from him. Entered 2:15.35. Takes that down to 2:13.77. So good performance there. Bellsill 1-2. Aaron Russell taking second. Just wait for the confirmed result to come up, because I think we might have a DQ coming through. We do. Ewan Watson, unfortunately, is disqualified from lane 2. So there you see Aaron's time, 2:14.19. So also inside his entry time. So on to heat number 2. Line up here. Richard Laws, Cooper in 0, David Lambman, City of Glasgow in 1, Dylan Mitchell of Warrender in 2, Andrew Smitten, South Aberdeenshire in 3, Mark Hutchin of Shetland in 4, Hayden Sterling of St Thomas in 5, Nikolai Cisnett, City of Glasgow in 6, Jamie Gilchrist, East Kilbride in 7, and 2 Kinross swimmers, Hayden Mackenzie in 8, Ben Smallwood in lane 9. And Hayden off to a good start in lane 8. First through the 50 turn, 27.91, with Dylan Mitchell in second.
There was a big difference there. I don't know if you noticed there, Duncan, but off the start, a big difference there. A range of ages here, 14 to 21. You could see the athletes that maybe had a bit more experience getting off the block a little bit quicker. But even in a 200, that's vital. You know, the 3 guys that are out in front here all had good starts, and doesn't matter if it's a 50 or a 1500, you still need to be able to start.
So 59.8 at halfway. 2.5 seconds ahead. Richard Laws is now edged into second from lane 0. 2:09 to 2:11 is the range of times here. So again, not too much, 1.4 the spread between the 10 swimmers.
Hayden's way inside this just now. I think this is going to be a cracking swim if we can keep this going. Kinross always have good kids and feed them through, so yeah, we're certainly going to be 2 or 3 seconds inside that if we can keep it going.
Yeah, so you see that just under a 34 there, so if he can hold that, it'll be 2:07. He's looking a little weary. Not surprising, he has worked really hard through this.
Yeah,
Let's see if he can keep this going. I think the answer is yes, he can. Nice stuff, 2:07 dead. In fact, faster in that last heat than he was in the previous one, in the last 50, I should say. Richard Laws with a strong finish as well, 33.0 to finish for him.
It's never easy when you finish on a 0-0. You always think you could do a 2:06.
At least it's easy to remember what your time was.
That's true.
How did you do, boy? 2:07.
Fantastic swim there, really, from start to finish, and it just shows you, if you, I'll say that a lot, you know, it's not the only way to win, but I think if you're confident enough and you can get out early, then you'd certainly give yourself clear water and a chance.
Heat 3, Royce Kringellis, City of Glasgow in 0, Alexander Stewart of Highland in 1, Fraser Donaldson, Mulgai and Bearsden in 2, Finlay Nelson of Dumfries in 3, Rory Webster also of Dumfries in lane 4, Ewan Mitchell of East Kilbride in 5, Magnus Morris of Ren 96 in 6, Rhys Edwards of Dumfries in 7, Jacob Duncan of Highland in 8, and Robbie Carlisle of Hamilton in lane 9.
Some good athletes in here. I think you're seeing us getting to the kind of, you know, the faster end, obviously, of these afternoon heats, but a few boys that have swam there from from a West of Scotland team perspective down at the county championships in this here, not particularly in their event, but good to see them doing the 200 front crawl. It's a good all-round event, and I think if you're going to be good at IM, you're going to have to do a decent 200 front crawl at some point. So you can see Finlay in 3, who we took down, and Rory in 4, their teammates. It will be a keen battle, I would have thought, in the last 100 here.
Yep, so Rory just with the edge there, just a quarter of a second between their entry times. Same age, 16-year-olds, two Dumfries boys, but it is at the moment Rory who has got the clear advantage. So Finlay will have to find something special to match him down the final 50 on 32.68. That's now a second faster than we saw in the previous heat from Hayden. So looking strong here, pushing on well, and he's got this absolutely wrapped up now. Rory Webster did his time 2:08 West District Championships here in March. I think he's going to take a reasonable amount off that. Let's see what the time is. Just under the 2:05. Nicely done. 2:04.91. And in fact, I think at the moment that gives him a shot of a place in the junior final. I had it as 2:05.42 as the time required. So inside that, in fact, he's a few swimmers inside that. So that gives him a bit of a margin if in case swimmers come in faster in these next heats. So very well done to Rory.
Think how close it was in the 100. He's really done well in that second 100. Pulled away from the rest of the field and built into that swim.
So the hot heat music struck again for heat number 4. And line up here, Marcus Blake, City of Glasgow in 0, Lachlan Small of Stirling in 1, Rory Calvert of First in 2, Lachlan Bremner of Highland in 3, Ben Montgomery of Stirling in 4, Leo Guerrius of Tabby Sim in 5, Blair McKean of Bells Hill in 6, Owen Williamson of East Lothian in 7, Connor Stewart of Stirling in 8, and Connor Mitchell of Warrender in lane 9. Entry times here 2:06s to 2:08s. We've got 3 18-year-olds, Blair, Owen and Connor Stewart. The other 7 all juniors. And there's one of the 18-year-olds, Owen Williamson, with the early lead, 27.87 for the East Lothian swimmer. He started really well. Nice long stroke. Looks like Connor Mitchell in lane 9. Has he got some cat problems there?
Yeah, I've seen that there just on the stream, yeah. It's good to see these older kids in the afternoon heat. Certainly makes it a lot more competitive for the kids that are able to make them in the lower ages.
So 58.7 for Owen. Second clear of Connor, Leo Gullerus. Apologies to Swedish listeners if I'm mangling the pronunciation. But Owen looking really good here. He's sustaining this very nicely. So he was just under 31 for his second 50. Let's see what he is for the third. Just over a 31, 31.6. 30.48. So he'll be knocking on the door of 2 minutes. He's 2:07 entry time. So if he can get down to 2:01 or 2:02, I think he can go back to his coach with a smile on his face.
I think him and Leo here, I think Leo in 5 is obviously having a good last 50 as well, but this is going to be some swim.
Yeah, Leo really pushing hard in his latter stages. But it's Owen in 2:02.68, so that is a big pickup for him. I know, speaking to him at National Age Groups, he's really enjoying his swimming at the moment, and it shows in terms of what's coming through.
I think that East Lothian setup just now is really kind of strong. You can see that from the top to the bottom, and I was speaking to Jamie, one of the head coach there, and I think he's quite comfortable and quite happy with the squad that he's got there. They seem to be really excelling in all age groups and in all male and female.
Yep, and Leo there, I think, would earn himself potentially a place in the junior final. So great stuff from the Swedish swimmer. So the final heat underway in this 200 freestyle. Thomas Trainer of East Kilbride in 0, Ewan McLeod in lane 1 for Lanark, Adam Scott, Renner 6 in 2, Alfie Churches, City of Glasgow in 3, Tom Armitage, Highland in 4, Alex Black of First in 5, Rory Stobie of Warrender in 6, Carl Muirhead, West Lothian in 7, and Lewis Gibson of South Ayrshire in lane 8.
Expect to see somebody go for this, I guess. Generally in the last heat, they all know that they're vying for either A or B or junior final places, so you would expect somebody to take a risk on this first 100 and try and get themselves a good time.
Certainly at the moment it looks pretty competitive. The 50 split was pretty similar to Owen's in the previous heat. Coming down, very close, lane 2, Adam Scott, the Wren swimmer, will lead them through under the minute, 59.78. And that is not as fast as the previous heat. There's about a second back on it. Then Jonathan Venter and Carl Muirhead, well, and others just over the minute. Lane 4, Jonathan Venter, the Perth 20-year-old, is certainly taking a bit of a push now. Alex Black of First in lane 6, not far away. So we come up to the 150. Jonathan Venter now turning first, 132.12, but the pace has dropped compared with the previous heat.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get the previous heat, I think, into the finals tonight, and then maybe we'll see how this last length goes. I think like Jonathan's taking off in this last length. We'll see what time he can post.
Yeah, he's a 20-year-old, so no junior swim for him. And well, that was a good last length, 2:01.80. So a nice improvement for him on his 2:04.79. So again, some good strong improvements in that 200 freestyle. Adam Scott in second, 2:04.58. That could be there or thereabouts. It's all getting a bit complicated now. I think more than my head can stand. So check out Meet Mobile and see if you can work it out. But he's only going to be close, Adam.
That's a good thing. I know it's quite complicated sometimes when we don't know who's kind of made the junior final or not, but the opportunity for these kids to come back and swim against an A and a B final is immense. You can't underestimate the value that they get from that. So it's always a wee bit of a kind of conundrum as to who made it and who didn't make it, and sometimes I wonder. I know there's some hard work happening behind us in the booth, but I think it needs to be done manually most of the time. So all credit to the guys that sort these things out for us.
So we're on to 50s now, 50 backstroke today. And we've got lots of heats in this one for you. 8 in total. And in the first heat, we've got Isla Mackery, Sophie Brown, Zara Dunn, Emma Barrowman, Olivia Caldwell, Tilly Lakey, and Ciara Finlayson. 35.6 up to 36.3.
Possibly see as the heats go on, the girls using more of that 50 metres off the start. You've seen that most of them they were up about 7 or 8 metres. That seems to be the kind of norm for this kind of age group of swimmer. But amazing start out there and won by Isla from Best.
Yep, so she's going well. So is Ciara Finlayson, but it's a dominant performance from Isla Mackery. Takes the win comfortably, 34.45, big PB. So reception borders quite a bit this afternoon. They've had a good afternoon, and Isla is keeping that going. Ciara Finlayson's second ahead of a string of her City of Glasgow teammates.
Good to see, I think. I mean, it's did they have a bit of time out where they weren't best and then come back, or have they always?
I think they've struggled a bit in the coaching front, because
so Lauren was up there for a long while, and then, as you say, I think is it Kirsty now that's taking fun. Certainly today they've been great on these heats, and it's great to see them back in the programme and doing so well.
Yes, their previous coach went on maternity, and I think they suffered in that period. And now Kirsty has taken up their slack and is doing a good job there, along with the other club coaches from the Borders. So this is Heat 2. Emily Dawson, Annabella Scatterty, Kira Bain, Eva Gordon, Millie Barton, Lucy Morgan, Katie Anderson, Anna Campbell, Gabriella Winton, Amy McAlonan. Lane 3 is Eva Gordon, the 12-year-old, so one of the youngest we've got here this week, taking the win for City of Glasgow, 33.45. So good stuff from her.
She'll be delighted with that. A bubbly character. She's very, very good in training, and will be delighted with that swim. Amazing start, good underwater, good technique up that whole length.
Yep, nice stuff there. As we get ready for heat number 3, just confirmation of that result there. Kira Bain second, Anna Campbell third. Quite a big spread, really, considering a 50 to have 2 seconds between first and fourth. It shows the quality of that swim there.
Sometimes find that with the younger athletes, they can take 2 and 3 seconds off in a 50, which when you get older, you'll be lucky to take 0.2 or 0.3 off.
Yeah, it comes as a bit of shock to them sometimes to realise they can't keep on doing that throughout their swimming careers. So heat 3, Ella McGeorge in 0, Tatiana Jurikova in 1, Laurie Joyce in 3, Leonie Bebra in 4, Millie Colvin 5, Rachel McGavin, Ellen Denny, Lisa McNair and Darcy Reid.
Quite an even start, isn't it, out there in lane 0 again. Maybe we're getting another win for lane 0, Ella McGeorge and Cooper.
Yep, Cooper swimmer going very well. She's certainly a swimmer who has improved a lot in the last year or so. Entered 35.08. Pretty tight at the end, but she held on to take the win. And a good improvement over a second, 33.95. Second, Leonie Bebra. And third, Laurie Joyce. Just 200s between them.
Good to see all the different clubs winning these heats. Definitely some good talent, I think. I think post-COVID we've maybe struggled a little bit in Scotland, and nice to see some talent coming back through.
Yeah, definitely. There's COVID definitely had an impact, a bigger impact than perhaps people realised it was going to have.
Yeah, I think the recent trials, I think it was evident there that there was a gap in age of athlete, and 2 years have cost us quite a wee bit.
So heat number 4 now. Emily McDougall, Chloe Kurt, Rachel Donald, Kirsty Breakin, Alice Finley, Anna Lawson, Kira Gregg, Maddie Barber and Poppy Shaw. Bunched together, but lane 1, Chloe Kirk, the Mulgine Bears Den swimmer. Oh, is she going to get it? They're coming through in the middle lanes. The 2 East Lothian swimmers really finishing strongly, and they get 1-2 in the end. Anna Lawson, I think, was getting it. Yep, 33.81 for her. So nice stuff from her. Well inside her entry time, 7/10.
Always difficult to spot that finish when you're on your back, but the kind of hazard of the trade is sore fingers sometimes, and it's not uncommon for some of these young athletes to have staved fingers, or even worse,
Even
at a younger age.
Fingers, yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's just a nice, safe indoor sport. But
And you end up A&E.
So heat number 5, Chloe Merson, Emily McGee, Ailey McNair, Caitlin Frame, Cara Gumbrell, Sophie Steele, Beth Craik and Charlie Pavry, Chloe Semple, Abigail Hill. We've had no Abigail, so there's 9 swimmers here.
Quite close here again. We'll get lane 0 again out there.
Yep.
And
Chloe Merson coming under a bit of pressure now from Caitlin Frame in lane 3, but I think Chloe will hold on to take it. And she does, 34.07. So, nice swim from her. Enter 34.50, take that down to 34.07. Caitlin Frame second, Sophie Steele third.
I think they'll all be asking to get moved into lane 0 in a minute. I think that's if as many winners from lane 0, I think, as we have from lane 4 this afternoon.
Well, back in the old days, you seeded 0 to 9, didn't you?
That's
Way
right.
back. So that was probably in your day, Scott.
Unfortunately, yeah, but it was only 6 lanes in that day.
And
It
you
was
were in
all
lane
yards.
0 of a 1 to 6 pool.
That's what it was, yeah. It was always in 0.
Heat 6, Jessie Norris, Molly Weir, Erin Coulter, Alexandra Miller, Charlotte Chadwick, Perry Scobie, Casey Dixon, Erica Watt, Madison Stewart, Anna Harkness. Times here 33.7, 34.1. So is it going to be lane 0 again? Certainly up there, but maybe lane 3 just edging it. Alexandra Miller. It's a close one, but I think Alexandra will take the win. Which she does in 33.67.
You say about the seeding 0 to 9, they still do that in some competitions down in England, and whenever we take athletes down there, you can see them, you know, they're
What's
gesturing
going on?
at you as to say, well, I'm the fastest in here and I'm in lane 9, and you're like, yeah, that's right. And you're like, no,
How does that work? Yeah.
I know. I'm interested. I was interested this morning as well. They've obviously changed the rules in back crawl. We haven't seen anybody dive for the under the last 5 metres yet. So
That's true. Yeah.
I've seen a few tweets and stuff from down south that there's been a lot of kids getting disqualified down south. So while this kind of rule change beds in, I haven't seen anyone up here yet try it. So interesting to see if any of the coaches have been having a go in training and see if it's any faster.
So heat 7, Victoria Grabowska, Abigail Crawford, Taylor Smith, Caitlin Peebles, Kira Hart, Ashley Drake, Lucy DeGrossa, Natalie Cooper, Caitlin Hamilton and Jessica Smith. Looking for something under 33 to challenge for a spot in the junior final here. 32.95, I make it as 10 fastest at the moment. Pushing on, Woolwich is close, lanes 1 and 2. Abigail and Taylor coming in. Who gets it? Taylor does. 33.21. And Abigail Crawford just behind her, 33.27. Ashley Drake in third, 33.65. So again, PB's coming through.
Two good swims there, well executed. Both good off the start and both really working hard at that finish. So they'll be pleased with their times.
Final heat for the women. Kira Pemble, Caitlin Reid, Isla Dobson, Millie MacArthur, Rose McLean, Lucy McLeod, Rosie Liston, Amber Littlejohn, Emily Dickens and Hannah Anderson. 32.9 to 33.4. Good start from Rose McLean. She's an 18-year-old, so not eligible for the junior final. Also pushing on now, lane 2, Isla Dobson. But, well, this is very close. I think Isla maybe just has the edge. Caitlin Reid going well beside her in lane 1. But I think it will be Isla will take the win. Let's check what the time is. 32.73, so I think that will win her a place in the junior final, if I've done my maths right. So good stuff from Isla. Entered on 33.10, so inside that as well, 4.4
Good swim there. I think a wee bit more there to come just on the finish, but really, really good swim. She'll be pleased with that, and as you say, if she makes a final, that's going to be a good bonus for today.
50 backstroke now for the men. And here we've got 9 heats. 3 go in the first of them. There they are, Kyle Simpson, Cole Murphy and Nathan Finley. Montefiore, City of Glasgow and first respectively.
Everybody loves a 50, don't they? Seems to be the most popular event in any.
I wonder
any
why. Why could
competition.
that be? I
don't know.
Think about this.
Yeah, I used to do a bit of distance, but we used to go to a kind of 50s competition every year, and it seemed to be the highlight of the year.
So here we go. As I mentioned, Kyle Simpson, Cole Murphy, and Nathan Finley. Entry times 33.9 to 34.1. So should be a good competitive three-way duel here. We had a three-way swim-off yesterday, which is not something you see every day.
Definitely not.
This one is going to be, it looks like, a fairly emphatic win for Kyle Simpson, the Montefiore swimmer. So again, talking about them earlier. Not a good performance from Montefiore. And a big PB, 32.14. Well done, Kyle. Near enough 2 seconds off his entry time. Heat 2 is going to be the hot heat.
Going to try and see this time what they get. I'll keep my eye on the winner.
So the lineup here: Aaron Russell, Ross Hutchinson, Finley Guiducci, Aaron Dunn, Callum Trainer, Jude Mowbray, Joe Carty, Adam McLaren and Campbell McLean. That's one of the good things about this 50s. You get a nice view of the scoreboard as they start. So you see exactly who's in what lane.
Makes a big difference to everybody in the venue, that scoreboard, if I'm honest.
So down the pool they go, and there's not a lot to choose between them. Pushing on in lane 1 is Ross Hutchinson. Lane 3, Aaron Dunn. Lane 0, Aaron Russell. Oh, this is close. Aaron Russell maybe is going to take it from lane 0. He does. 32.61, 100th in it. So he gets the prize. Another lane 0 win. Aaron Dunn second. Adam McLaren third. Just 100th between Aaron and Aaron. Different spellings, same name, pretty much.
It's nearly making me get my costume on again and get into that lane 0. I think it's a guaranteed winner, I think.
Heat number 3. Lewis McDonald, Caleb Geddes, Logan McDonald, Abudi Mufti, James Gordon, Liam Black, Titus Pike, Zach Jeffrey, Callum Aitchison and Kyle Harper. 32.7 to 33.3 the times here. Looks like we're going to get a different lane this time, because pushing on strong in lane 6 is the Stirling University swimmer Titus Pike. Entered on 32.72.
Great start there. I mean, you can see the difference it makes, just that in that first 15-20 metres, and he's just continued that.
So a big win there. Slap on the board there as he hit the top of it. 31.31. So massively inside his entry time.
Yep. He'll be going home to put that hand in ice soon.
Yeah, there might be a nice bruise coming up on the side of it. Heat 4. Then we have Boyd Harper, Finley Brown, Sam Ross, Clavia Singh, Jamie Gilchrist, Ife Poglu, Samuel Beetham, Finley Watson, Stephen Laws, Michael Winship. This one, the time's 32.3 to 32.6.
Quite surprised, not a lot of people are using the 50 metres you're allowed underwater at the start, so with the 50 you want to get up and swim. It's sometimes faster to swim on top of the water than it is under, but when you look at the world level it's a wee bit longer than what these guys are going. But
so another tight one, battle in lanes 1 and 2 and 4. It's Sam Ross just edging it. Takes the win, the Warrender swimmer from lane 2. Wait for that to be confirmed. Just a... Oh, now we have the confirmation. Just 200s in it. 32.8 for Sam. 32.10 for Jamie Gilchrist. Stephen Laws in third.
Always intrigued what the best way is when they've got to start here, whether it's to stay under or get up quicker. It was always per individual athlete that we made that decision about how long they would go under, but most of these athletes this afternoon have chosen to get up after about 3 or 4 kicks underwater.
So would you do it differently in a 100 compared with the 50?
Yeah, definitely. 50 really is all about speed, so if you've got somebody that can rotate quickly and get power in the stroke, you'd want them to come up a bit earlier. But in the 100 it makes a massive difference if you can get them out to 10 or 15 metres.
Line up here: Alex Taylor, Brandon Aitchison, Kyle Mossman, Alexander Stewart, Ewan Watson, Alfie Churches, Fraser McIntosh, James Stewart, Taylor Hutton and Finlay Bennett. Again, this is going to be on the touch in between lane 0 and 2. And the touch goes to lane 2, Kyle Mossman, 31.68. More the swimmer from City of Glasgow. Alex Taylor in second, Taylor Hutton in third. So some nice PBs there. Moving rapidly on to heat number 6. So line up for heat 6: Hayden Sterling, Aaron Drake, Adam Hill, Alex Black, Ewan Mitchell, Matthew Heasley, Ethan Mulligan, Alex Tinch, Nebby Sengula and Luke Jansen. Entry times here 31.3 to 31.8.
Seen a lot more stroke rate now coming as you get to these later heats. People applying that pressure under the water as quickly as they can.
So lane 1, Aaron Drake, and lane 7, Alex Tinch. Alex just nicking it in the end there. That seemed to be about just how he managed his finish there for Alex to take that.
It's quite difficult, you know, we say you've got to finish on a full stroke, and we try and encourage kids to be brave on the finish, but it's not the easiest thing to do. But exactly there, that was the difference between first and second, was the one with the best finish got first.
So well done, Alex. And we go to heat number 7. Dean Bargatti, Oscar Longmore, Cameron Shaw, Ben Smallwood, Declan Kay, Josh Stephen, Jed Armitage, Ewan Gray, Rory Calvert and Cole Morrison.
Seen a mixture of starts there, which was good. A couple of stronger athletes, I think, in this field.
Very, very tight though. All the swimmers pretty much across the pool in a line. We've seen some great swims from lane 1, and it's Oscar Longmore in lane 1 this time. The Irishman from East Cavan is taking the win, 30.78. So good stuff from him, entered 31.2. So they progress through there nicely. Dean Bargatti second, Cameron Shaw third. I think 30.16 I think is the cut-off for place in the junior final, so we've got to pick up another 6/10 or so in these last 2 heats.
Good to see the man from County Cavan there in the last heat win it. That's an area in Ireland they've obviously travelled over to have this meet.
Yep, they've been here before as well, so they obviously enjoy coming through to Glasgow. It was a fairly easy trip from Ireland to Glasgow. So heat 8, Magnus Morris, Fraser Donaldson, Finlay Sang, Nikolai Cisnat, Ethan Collins, Jerzy Pritchowski, Stuart Pritchard, Luke Scott, Fraser van der Merlen and Ewan McLeod.
So Nikolai here in 3 is 13. You've got to remember that, and he's leading this field.
Yep, he's looking very, very good. 30.68 time he did in West Districts. And he's going to be well inside that, 29.48. Wow, that is impressive. That gets him certainly into the junior final as a 13-year-old. So, yep, very good stuff there.
Very impressive athlete, very impressive young man. As I said, I think he swam this morning and got some good experience this morning. But this is him swimming against, I guess, folk closer to his age, and he's excelling just now. So, product of the School of Sport here in Glasgow.
I think that, if I'm right, makes him 4th fastest for the junior final. Still one heat to go, of course, here. The line-up: Callum MacArthur, Kai Fern, Rory Hall, Dylan McCombie, John Mackay, Ishmael Shalabi, Kyle Wong, James Boddy, Andrew Smitten and Adam Miller. John Mackay of Stirling University, which maybe just have the edge in lane 4, but plenty close to him. So he's not a junior now. Coming up through in lane 1 is Kai Fern, the 14-year-old. Who's going to get the touch, though? None of them. Ishmael Shalabi gets it 30.05. I think that will put him in the junior final as well. Just nicking in. Again, we'll wait for confirmation of that, but good strong finish from Ishmael in a very tight contest there. Just waiting for that to be confirmed. There it is now. John Mackay 2nd, Kai Fern 3rd. And Ishmael 30.05. I think we'll get him in.
It's amazing in these afternoon heats how often that happens, that the heat that's not the last heat actually gets the fastest time. And I think we spoke about it throughout the session. You can move up a significant amount of places, never mind in this session, but in the morning session as well. So some good swimming this afternoon, both for the boys and the girls.
Yep, something completely different now. Go from the 50s to an 800. We've got 2 heats this afternoon, and the fastest heat will go in the final session this evening. 3 swimmers will go in the first heat. There they are. Scarlett Robinson in the red cap, going for Copeland against 2 locals. City of Glasgow swimmers Madeline Patterson and Ellie Kennedy. Madeline in 4, Ellie in 5. Entry times 9:56 up to 10:01.
So I must admit, one of my best friends used to be the head coach of Copeland. So an unknown name possibly up here, but down in the west coast of England. And I've been to that pool, and I've swam in that pool, and I've coached in that pool. So it's quite funny to see them back up here, if I'm honest with you. But that was a few years ago. So maybe not a club name that we're known up here, but certainly throughout England they've produced some really good swimmers over the years.
So nice to have Scarlett representing Copeland up here. Let's see how she does in this 800 freestyle. Seen her in a few swims, going pretty well so far this weekend.
It's interesting as well because you've got 3 girls there roughly the same time. We've talked about kind of being brave, and 800s are slightly different. You've got to make sure your pacing's right, but generally when there's 3 close to this, someone will try and take it on early, so it'll be interesting to see who makes the break.
Ellie Kennedy just edging it at the 100, 109.37. Again, you can just get a feel from those intermediate splits as to the relative pace of the 3, but at the moment they're basically coming down the pool all together. And the Glasgow girls, both 15-year-olds, all 3 of the swimmers are about 15-year-olds, but the 2 surely are, you would think, will be in the same training squad in Glasgow, will know everything there is to know about each other's strengths and weaknesses. There's only 800s between them in their entry time, so what do you think will be going on there?
I don't know, but they swim in the same lane as well, so they're doing mostly the same things at the same times. But the good thing is, I think now there's more focus on individualisation of kids, so they won't be doing exactly the same programmes there'll be occasions where they get split off into different groups and they do different things. But yeah, it's always good to have a bit of inter-club rivalry, should we say? And yeah, there's not always some. I think we call it up here tears and snotters after some of these things as well, because for a lot of times what you see is a kind of power shift. Kids at this age are growing, so you get people that have got a physical advantage over others, and then the others catch up, and then all of a sudden it's the other ones that are winning. It's just going through all the emotions when you're growing up is quite difficult, and especially when you're spending 7 days or at least 6 days a week in the same lane as someone. It's quite difficult to keep the emotions in as you kind of flip-flop between who's winning and who's not.
Yeah, I mean, City of Glasgow have been so successful in recent years, and they've dominated national age groups for the last few years, and really built up a very, very strong group of swimmers at all ages, really. So to get a successful club like that, obviously they've got a big population base to draw on, but what is it that you see in City of Glasgow that makes them so successful?
So I've been fortunate to have, been head coach at other clubs myself, and it's difficult. It takes about, I've always said it takes about 6 years to grow a club, and it takes about 6 minutes to lose it. You can imagine things can happen very quickly. But with regards to City of Glasgow, I just think there's excellent leadership. I think you see that here at the competition, just even the organisation. But obviously under Danielle, the head coach, there's 4 or 5 really good young coaches who are willing to learn, and possibly, I think I joked earlier on about looked like me 30 years ago. I think there's a few of us here that remember that time when you were going above and beyond, and I think that's it. I don't think there's any secret. I know kind of kids to be warned are pretty well in the coaching system there, and I think, to be honest with you, it's about just creating the environment that kids want to come to, and if you've got the right coaches coaching the right kids, you're going to get the right results. And I think anybody out there, I know, having been on the other side of this and been in smaller clubs, it's about how do you attract people to a programme, and how do you make sure that the people want to stay there, and that's the key thing, I think, for all of these, whether it's a small club or a big club. It's been particularly successful here, which is good to see. But I think the bigger picture is, when we go to the county championships, we'll go as west to Scotland or east to Scotland, or I think the north might be coming and joining us at some point. What we try and do is encourage all of the kids to join, because it's effectively, we are 1/10 of what England is, so we kind of try and make it a bit bigger than just inter-club things. So the bigger picture, I think, for Scottish swimming is that we need all clubs strong, and regardless of where you're swimming, as long as you've got a good environment and good coaching environment, good governance and protection, then we're all going to be better for that. End of the day, it's a Commonwealth Games team, it's a Scotland team we want to do well, and at the Olympics it's a GB team we want to do well, so we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, no, definitely. So this is very interesting between the two girls. Absolutely nothing between them, just 1500s as they get through 450 there. They are pulling away from Scarlett. She'll just need to work her own swim now. As we see these two girls. And they've been pretty steady pacing. The pace just dropped slightly in that 400, but not much. We'll see whether, certainly at the moment, no sign of either of them making a break. Let's see what this is, 6:10, 76. You can see 37.9, 38.5. So pace is just dropping a little. Madeline, perhaps, with that 38.5, she won't want the gap to grow. It's about a metre, which is as big as it's been. She won't want that to increase. And in fact, it looks like she's reacted to that. So no, I'm going to stick with you.
We do try and encourage that. When the gap gets beyond the body length, you can see there that Scarlett's really struggling. She's not too far off the times that these girls are doing at the start, at the head of the race, but as soon as that body length's reached, it's I always liken it to the boat race. If you ever watch the boat race, as soon as they get a body length in the boat, it's very, very difficult to get back. And it's just a psychological thing. You just feel as if you're going backwards when you're not. You're actually doing okay, but it's a skill, it's a mindset to try and keep going when you suffer some of this. Sometimes you find yourself in heats where there's just faster people. You just need to put up with that, and the mindset needs to get you through. But yeah, staying with them is definitely the best option if you can.
So it does look like Ellie seems to have a slight advantage coming back to the start end, and Madeline maybe just gets it the other way. Almost felt there's a little bit of a current going on in Tollcross Pool.
I think the jet stream's up lane 0, I think.
Yeah, we've certainly been going well up at that end. Lane 1 has got a benefit from it as well, because both of those lanes have done well this afternoon.
I think we'll put the dye in the pool. I don't know if you've ever seen them test it, but they drop a little bit of dye in the pool, and it's quite funny to see.
See what happens, yeah.
There's a few things in that shot as well. You'll see that the lane ropes aren't actually right to the end of the pool. And I guess folk won't know that everything's measured, because for the elite athletes that are here, we're absolutely filming them, and we're doing some measurements between 50 metres and 25 and 50. So, you know, that's on purpose, that somebody's actually went in and measured all of this out. So that's a bit of behind the scenes that nobody sees, that there's normally performance analysts that will come in the day before and set the pool up.
So the bell sounds, and it's still tight, and it's all going to be down to the final sprint. 8:40.9 and 8:41.8, so less than a second in it. So who has got the guts to really push this on now between the two of them? Certainly for the last little while, it's been Ellie Kennedy who's had the advantage. And, well, for the first time, we talked about that body length. She's pretty much got that now. So you would fancy her to take this one. Her entry time, Ellie, 9:59.70. I think she's going to be inside that. On paper, she's about 3 seconds behind Madeline, but she will reverse that round. Madeline will push hard down this last length, but with that lead now, this is Ellie Kennedy's race. So 9:59.70 her entry time. So I'm looking for something just a little bit over the 9:50. So very well done, 9:51.55. Pushed up the pace nicely in that final 15. See there a 35.2 and a 35.9 for Madeline. So he comes in 9:54.17, so she's inside her entry time as well. And Scarlett just over the 10 minutes, 10:02. Very close to her entry time. So good swimming in that first heat.
Nice race by all three girls there, well controlled, and Scarlett did well to hold on, because I said earlier it's easy to get lost in the race and all of a sudden you're way behind, but good times by all three girls.
So 9 swimmers will go in heat number 2. And they are Emma McGavin in lane 0 from Hamilton, Ayla Cochrane of City of Glasgow in 1, Lexine McCappin of First in lane 2, Victoria Niven, City of Glasgow in 3, Kate Nolan of Warrender in 4, Catherine Boddy of Geary in 5, India Marshall of East Lothian in 6, Clara Westerdahl of Tabby Sim in 7, and Alice Perry, Warrender in lane 8. Entry times here 9:41 up to 9:55.
Yeah, this will be a bit competitive. I think there's quite a tight gap between first and last, and there is a bit of movement in 800, so some people will look at this as 2 400s or 4 200s, or they'll pace it on an individual 100 basis, so there's definitely some room for creativity and a bit of planning and a bit of understanding how to swim the race.
So the old thing about negative splits, is that something you would strive for, to get the swimmers to swim faster in the second half than the first half?
I personally do like that. I must admit, I do like to encourage that in training as well, but it's just you've got to take off the kind of first 50 or the first 100 really, because you kind of get easy speed in that. And I think if you look at the kind of second, third, and fourth, and you compare that against your last 400, then it gives you a good indication of how they're doing. I think also it's a good indication of how well they're doing in training. So if you can maintain a pace and you can maintain that for a level of time, then it does mean that you're doing well and you're doing the right sort of stuff in training. I think we laughed about the 50s. I guess anyone can at times pull out an amazing 50, but it's a lot more taxing and a lot more harder to do something over 800. So yeah, I think negative split works. Although you've seen, current kind of American who just sits on everyone's laps for 1400 meters and blasts the last 100. So there's better coaches than me that have better ideas on how to win races at that level. But for younger athletes, I think if you can even pace it as much as you can. I think the old theory is always true that you'll not win races if you're not fast. So you still need to make sure that the kids are fast, but I think you've got to do the work as well to get them fast, and that's the key.
So India Marshall, we saw her in the very first race of the afternoon in the 400 IM, swimming really well, and now she's looking good here in the 800 free. East Lothian 18-year-old entered 9:44. That's a time that she did at Snags, where she was 5th in her age group. Bronze medalist in East Districts. There's a pretty experienced distance swimmer, improving as she gets older as well. It's good to see. Sometimes you see the girls sort of leveling off at age sort of 14, 15, but that's not been the case with India. She has progressed steadily through the last couple of years.
I think it's good to see. I think it gives other girls as well that kind of determination to stick into the sport. I think there is a period where your body just doesn't allow you to swim fast, and there's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter what sport you're in. You're going to struggle maybe for a year or two, especially maybe hitting female athletes more than male athletes. But you keep. I always think of kind of Chris Gilchrist, who swam, and then eventually got to the short course World Championships and won it.
Yep.
And had he taken the opportunity years ago to quit, then we might never ever seen that kind of potential. So it's always worthwhile, I think, to give yourself a chance. And age is no barrier now in swimming, really.
We think of James Wilby in the 200 breaststroke as well. Really only came to the fore well into his 20s.
Yep.
Going back a bit now, but Kirsty Balfour was a bit like that and ended up being a World Championship silver medalist, having probably coming through at 16 or 17 to start being a serious contender.
Yeah, I don't think anymore. It used to be you were kind of 17, 18, you had to make a choice, but I think there's plenty of university swimming out there as well that have got athletes at the same level and the same age. I think a lot of people gave up before because there was nobody at that age or that kind of level in clubs, but I think there's plenty of opportunities now, certainly up here in Scotland, to keep going, and I think you'll find your place. It might not be always in that top squad, but if you want to, you can get there and you can get through and do well.
Yeah, and the great thing now, I think, is we're seeing a lot more depth in our university programs in Stirling and in Edinburgh, and now increasingly coming up in Aberdeen, of course Glasgow now with its senior squad as well. So the depth is increasing all the time. And I imagine that, I don't know what India's plans are, but I imagine that she will be going off from East Lothian into a university at some point, and she'll be looking, I hope, to continue that career. So she's pushing very nicely in that 36s throughout. She's not getting hugely away, because Lexi McCappin is also going nicely, the first swimmer in lane 2, but she's a fair bit back on India. So we're now into the second half, coming up to 500 metres now.
She looks comfortable there. She looks as if she's got a rhythm and a rate, and she's breathing both sides, so she's aware of what's around her. I think a lot of young athletes forget that you've got to breathe both ways, even if you're in the kind of middle. It doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to stay in line and be behind you. You've got to breathe both ways and make sure you understand the race and use the race to help your swim rather than the other way around.
Yep, so another 36.7 from India. In fact, the same split pretty much from Lexington as well. So that gap is staying the same with lane 3, Victoria Niven in 3rd place, another 17-year-old. So just checking the pacing here. So that was a 36.5 for India and a 36.8 for Lexington. So India picked up a little bit more in that length. 37 for Victoria.
It's funny, we've done quite a bit of analysis on long distance events, and when you look at times in comparison to each other, there's maybe only 100 or 150 where it's different, and the rest of the times are virtually the same. And it's that moment in the race where you take your opportunity that makes the difference between winning and being in the pack. And you know, it's a brave person that knows their own capabilities when they're in there, but that's what you've got to do to win races. You've got to take your moment at the right time and then just have the confidence to finish it.
Yeah, looks like Lexi is just slipping back now. It's just finding it probably hard to stick with India's pace, and so India picked up a second on her in that last 50. So she is starting to pull away now. They'll be conscious there's just 3 and a bit lengths to go now. Wanting to figure out, right, what is the end strategy to this race. 36.6 again, so she's been really consistent. At what time would you be looking to pick it up? Wait till the last 50 or push it up before that?
In an 800, I always just say the 150, you should start building from the 150 out, and I think that gives you the capability to win the race. I think if you wait to the last 50, we've seen it this morning, I think, in one of the races, but you know, it drives coaches crazy when you get a 34, 34, 34, 29, 1. What happened there?
So the bell sounding for India. So we'll see whether she has built it in that one. No, not really. Not at all. A 37 there. So we'll see now whether she does pick it up in this final 100. Maxine perhaps has picked it up a little bit. And 3rd place still, Victoria Niven, briefly in your picture there, as we see the first 2 coming down to the final turn. Yeah, another 114 would be a 9:39 or thereabouts. She's entered on 9:44 the time she did at Snag, so with a bit of a sprint finish, it's going to be a good few seconds inside that, I think. So let's see down this last length as she picks it up. And push on those legs, up the stroke rate. And she's definitely doing both of those. So this has been an excellent swim from the East Lothian girl. Look at the time, coming up just over the 9:35, 9:36.31. So I think she'll be pretty happy with that. 8 seconds inside her entry time, and a recent entry time from Snag. So more building from India. Well done. Lexine McCappin, 9:41.04 for her. So she's also inside her entry time by about 3.5 seconds. Victoria Niven, 9:48. Catherine Boddy also on a 9:48. And Claire Westerdahl, Kate Nolan, Alice Perry, and final 2 swimmers coming in at the top of your screen. So Emma and Ayla completing the race. There's confirmation of it. So 9:36.31 will be the target time for the final heat, which takes place this evening. Certainly would expect the swimmers to be faster than that this evening. So that's us done with session 5. We'll be back shortly for our final session, our second night of finals. We'll begin at 5 to 5. Swimming starts at 5 o'clock. Thanks again, Scott, for your company this evening and your insights, which have been valuable as always. But for now, from Tollcross, we'll wish you a very good afternoon.